Would you mind tweeting out the starters like how I usually do it? Here's our lineup. I'll let you finish the tweet.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara, bringing you exclusive live coverage of tonight's contest between the Danbury Hat Tricks and the Columbus River Dragons here at Danbury Arena, a rematch of what was a tightly contested battle last night that spilled over into extra time. And the Columbus River Dragons handed the Hat Tricks a loss, their first loss in 8 games. The River Dragons continue on their winning ways. They have won their last 6 in a row and 12 of their last 14. Jack, this is a team that is formulating to be one of the powerhouses of the Western Division. Even though they started off slow and they currently sit at 4th place in the West, this is a team not to be trifled with going forward.
Absolutely. You saw how well they played last night. They were never out of that game as much as we thought. Danbury took control in the second period. Columbus, they started to build their way back in that game. And I think a lot of it has to be, a lot of credit has to be given to Cody Karpinski and the way that he played in net. When you are riding a hot goaltender like that through the end of the regular season into the playoffs, that's going to be dangerous. And I think Columbus has an opportunity now going on these stretches as the season dwindles down to jump up a spot or two in the standings. They're not playing like a 4th place team right now.
Absolutely not. They are chasing the Danville Dashers, and there's chance for them to make ground. And you don't want to. They did clinch a playoff spot last night with their overtime victory, and with Battle Creek falling in regulation. So the River Dragons officially in. It's just a matter of who they play in the first round. And if they do play the Carolina Thunderbirds in round 1, that's a team that they shut out earlier this year 4-0. So it's not like the River Dragons can't slay the mighty Thunderbirds. But, of course, thinking ahead to tonight, Cody Karpinski will get the night off, and Jarrett Rutledge will get the call in net for the Columbus River Dragons. And the River Dragons will still be without a couple of their best players. Jack Parker Moskal still nursing a minor injury. Will Laporte was a game-time decision. He skated in warm-ups, will not join the team in the lineup tonight. This is a team that, even though they're missing some of their key contributors, was still firing on all cylinders, and they still were able to get the job done when it mattered most last night.
Absolutely, and it was kind of a team effort for them. Good speed all night long from them, going one end of the ice to the other, and that's what you need from a team that's going to hope to contend is a full team effort. You don't want 1 or 2 guys to take over. Obviously, that helps you when you can rely on top scorers, but to have a full team effort, we talk about how deep the Danbury Hat Tricks can be. Look at this Columbus team. They roll out 2-3 lines that can all produce points. That's important, and they did so last night. They got good scoring, and, of course, the game winner, C.J. Hayes, was great. I thought he played a complete game last night. Bondarenko had a great game. You go down this list, and guys will produce. I mean, they've got guys in the 40s and the 50s and 60 points, and they're a really talented team, and they have guys that they can go on the top line all the way down to the 3rd.
Ivan Bondarenko, with his goal last night, became the 5th 20-goal scorer on this River Dragons team. I mean, what a deep squad that they have. As for the Danbury Hat Tricks, they have a couple of guys that are coming back in, and they're getting trial by fire because this is their first time back in the lineup after dealing with injuries. Martin Tuma, last night was his first game. Gordy Bennell, his first game in quite some time. And tonight, they will have number 18, Thomas Freeman, rejoining the team on the blue line. He'll replace Easton Oliver on the defensive core. What do you expect from Thomas Freeman here tonight? Do you expect to see him much on the ice?
I think, he's going to have some shorter shifts. He'll probably be on that 3rd pairing, maybe paired up with a Cruz Listmayer, or he might have some help. Maybe Coach McCreary decides to put him alongside Steve Brown, have him some help there in that regard, kind of get his feet underneath him the first couple of periods. But I think it's just important for Freeman to just get back in the swing of the game. not overdo it by any means because they have the stronger defenders out there that they can roll in. And I think that we'll see a short amount of shifts for him, and the shift times won't be long whatsoever.
Starting lineups first for the visiting Columbus River Dragons. On the blue line, they will have Ala Shapitzin alongside number 24, Vaughn Clouston. On the forward lines, they will have Anton Lennartson alongside the captain, Chase Fallis, and Yanni Lirakos. In goal, they will have Jared Rutledge. Rutledge comes in with an 11-12-1 record, 419 goals against average, and 888 save percentage. Does have a shutout to his name. Jared Rutledge will be countered in goal for the Danbury Hat-Tricks by Tom McGuckin, number 30. He sports a 14-4-1 record with a 918 save percentage and 311 goals against average. That's your Ameriprise Financial goaltending matchup. Save more with Ameriprise Financial and Derek Packett. In front of McGuckin, the Hat-Tricks will have Tuma starting on the blue line with Vlad Gavrik, and a new unit on the top line now, Shane Morrissey and Carter Shinkarik. Instead of Matthias Kasich, they'll have Steve Mealy playing the forward tonight.
Well, getting Tommy Freeman back is going to be important. It allows Mealy to do a little bit more as a forward. I thought he played pretty well last night, too. He missed a considerable amount of time with an injury. He looked very, very strong as a defender. Now, obviously, being in that natural position up there in the forward position is going to help the Hat-Tricks in this game.
The Hat-Tricks surge out onto the ice, and we're going to turn you over now for the playing of the national anthem. Here's our public address announcer, Tyler Vallis.
Tonight is Ben's Bells night. Here representing Ben's Bells is our very own team photographer, Dan Stockfield.
Hey everybody, thank you very much for showing up tonight. Tonight is Ben's Bells night. For those of you who don't know, Ben's Bells is basically in the business of teaching and spreading intentional kindness. You'll notice around the arena are bells that look like flour and bells hanging there. So please take a look at them. Later on, we'll probably be giving them away. Alright, so we also have to take them outside, so please come by and visit us in the Intermission. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great time.
Thank you, Dan. Now for the national anthem, a senior from Newsville High School, Julia Gallardo.
Julia Gallardo with a rousing rendition of the national anthem on Ben's Bells night. She's here benefiting intentional kindness and kindness education and practice. You can learn more about the Ben's Bells Project, which is having a fundraiser here tonight at Danbury Arena, at bensbells.org. Getting set for puck drop, the Hat-Tricks will be skating left to right on your YouTube screen, donning their traditional home black jerseys with orange and white trim. The River Dragons in their road whites with teal and maroon trim. Shame we don't get a look at those bright teal thirds.
I was really hoping, figure Saturday, special night out, bigger crowd, maybe Columbus. They were flashy last night.
Yeah, you don't want to have to pack twice, unfortunately. It's a shame. So we'll have to deal with that. You know, it's something you have to power through.
Yep.
I'll try to hide my hurt. So for the Danbury Hat-Tricks tonight, Jack, they're coming off of an overtime loss and losing consecutive games on home ice. It's happened twice this year. Once was opening weekend, back-to-back overtime losses to Port Huron. Didn't happen again until January the 17th and 18th against the Elmira Enforcers. The Hat-Tricks have not really lost consecutive games very often at all this season. What will they have to do to stave that off tonight?
I think you have to play a complete game here from start to finish. Do not take anything off. Keep your foot on the gas pedal the whole way through, and you just can't let up against a team like this. They're too dangerous.
And we saw how dangerous the River Dragons could be in the waning moments of a period as Carter Shinkarik flips one towards the net. It goes off the legs of Shapitzin and over to the far side point where Tuma will chip it in, but only briefly. We saw a goal in the final minute of the first period for the Columbus River Dragons to even up the score, and then Chase Follis scored the game-tying goal with 2.5 minutes to go in regulation to send the game into overtime. This is a River Dragons team that knows how to apply pressure when it matters most in the late goings of a period. Off the skates of Shane Morrissey, and in behind the netminder, Jarrett Rutledge. Out from behind his net, the alternate captain, MJ Graham. Leaves it back for his defenseman, Clouston, who in turn flips it up the ice. Bondarenko will retreat a bit. Now back once more to Clouston. Up to Graham, former Brewster Bulldog, making his way in on the left side. A couple of former Brewster Bulldogs on this team. He and Jay Krupp, both no strangers to both the FHL landscape and the Danbury area in general, as the old state line rivalry between the Whalers and Bulldogs.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun hockey between those two sides, and Graham's had a fantastic season here with Columbus, just putting up some great numbers, and you see just his skill set, you know, and look how balanced his scoring is. 23 goals, 28 assists. Those are strong, strong numbers through just 36 games played, too.
Krupp will tee up a shot and send it right into the rabbit on the center of the sweater of Tom McGuckin, and will do it once again from the Hat-Tricks end as MJ Graham on the face-off dot. He and Krupp both participated in that infamous Winter Classic game between the Danbury Whalers and the Brewster Bulldogs outdoors at the Brewster Ice Rink outdoor game. And we always make fun of our broadcasting partner, Zach McGinnis, participating in that game as Krupp flips it towards the net. A backhander goes wide as he was up in a cherry picker for that game in what felt like negative degree weather. Honestly, I would be incredibly intrigued if we could pull off a Winter Classic again in the FPHL.
Absolutely. I think it has, you know, kind of the nostalgic and potential draw to people wanting to come out and enjoy themselves a nice outdoor hockey game. Obviously, no team in Brewster right now.
Kugler winds and fires one into the padding of McGuckin.
But it's right across the border. You know, you could get a Elmira, Watertown up in New York. Delaware could come up for the game, or maybe they have a round robin of teams, a couple games going on there. I think it could bring some excitement and some hype behind it. I really do.
We can always, you know, opine for what could be. The fact is there just aren't a whole lot of outdoor rinks out there. Brewster, one of the few left, and they actually have put a roof over that one in the recent years. Sent towards Garrett. It goes off his stick. He goes into the far side corner with Jacob Gerson. Gets tied up. Over to Anderson on the left wing. Has Matthias Kasich streaking on the right side. Finds him. Kasich with Gavrik in deep. Kasich in the circle. Sends a shot that gets turned out by Rutledge. That might have snuck underneath his right leg pad. I
think you're right, Casey. A good attempt again for Kasich. Had a great night last night. Couple of goals. Looking to score again there.
Hayes sends one that goes past McGuckin and rattles out of the zone. Anderson off to the races. Clouston cuts him off and crosses to Shapitzin. Shapitzin looking up the way for Gerson and hops off the heel of his stick. McGuckin aggressively out of his net to play the puck. Freeman will leave it for Morrissey. This is the first time that Thomas Freeman will be playing with Shane Morrissey, as Morrissey joined the team just before their Elmira series on January 17th. And by that point, Freeman was already out of the lineup, so this is their first time sharing the ice together. Lenartson sets one up for Lirakos, who's knocked off the puck by Shinkarik. Freeman will field in the corner. Out to Lirakos, setting up a shot in the slot. Follis had it go off of the legs of Martin Tuma. Follis again in the corner, switches places with Lirakos. Tuma trying to dig the puck out of the skates of Follis. Follis doing a great job of shielding the puck with his lower half. Leaves it for Lenartson. Has his back to the net. Feeds Clouston. Clouston crossing the way to Shapitzin. It goes past him off the legs of the linesman. And Shapitzin will have to get around him. Steve Mealy aggressively on the back check. 3 minutes, 20 seconds gone by here in the first period as Freeman shovels it towards the blue line. Morrissey, it goes off his stick and kept in. Fallis with a turnaround chance now. Lirakos on the doorstep, save McGuckin. A rebound is weakly gloved by McGuckin. Oh boy, a little bit of a miscommunication there on the part of the Hat-Tricks leads to a couple of prime chances.
Absolutely. Morrissey trying to be too fancy at the blue line. That's a really good shift there for the Lenartson and Lyricos line, working hard. Chase Fallis doing great work on the forecheck, and it turns into some dangerous opportunities around the net. No clinical shots, not a lot on them, but it just does enough to get Tom McGuckin out of his cage to fall in the puck.
We saw how much possession sort of shifted. We use the analogy like a pendulum swing because it seemed like every 10 minutes these teams traded pinning shifts as there's Krupp with a glove save by McGuckin. And we're seeing the Columbus River Dragons get off to a hot start here as they have good sustained offensive zone time. Now back the other way towards Rutledge. Ruiz entering in. Lenartson will turn and send it across the way over to Krupp, who picks up the puck at the red line. Krupp slices and dices with Graham, but is met by Bronner in the neutral zone. Back out to Kostukov. Igor Kostukov in his first weekend as a member of the River Dragons. Former member of the Delaware Thunder and Watertown Wolves. Had combined 5 assists in 20 games with the 2 previous teams. Bondarenko in on the right side, trying to get around Listmayer. Listmayer and Bolin Porter tag team the puck into the far side midboard. It's taken once more by Bondarenko. His shot blocked by the legs of Bunnell, picked up by Anderson. Looking up the way for Bunnell, it's out of his reach. Bunnell now corrals the puck, looking for Bolin Porter, intercepted. Back the other way comes Krupp. Krupp aggressively in, saucer pass, flitters past Graham, turns around and wraps it around the boards roulette style over to the near side midboards where Gordy Bunnell will take a check.
Yeah, great start to this game for Columbus, good intensity. Danbury not connecting with a lot of their passes, especially through the neutral zone. Need a little bit more simplification in that department.
Here's Ozelinch. Up the left wing, up to Dimmitt. Dimmitt entering in, Gavrik in front of him, wiring a pass for Gerson. It goes through his wickets and out of reach. Here's Hayes. Is met by Shinkarik, slides it to Morrissey. Morrissey now will dump it in deep. Shapitzin and Mealy chasing after the puck. Mealy throws a check. Shapitzin is able to get it over to the far side where Morrissey tries to tap it in. Gavrik holding the blue line. Sends it around the kick plate. It's cut off by Clausen, who in turn kisses it off the glass up for Hayes on the right side. Hayes being swarmed by Morrissey. Coughs up the puck. Shinkarik stops short in the circle. Has Garrett back at the blue line. Finds him. Garrett with a wrist shot that goes high and wide. Now Gavrik with a shot that gets blocked in front. That might have caught Morrissey in the back as he gets up a bit slow. Hayes weaving now with Shapitzin. Shapitzin with a weak shot that gets blocked in front and will go wide of the net. Here's Gerson, set up between the hash marks. Drop pass now for Fallis, saved by McGuckin.
Nice little one-touch pass up front. Gerson going after it. Good line here with Fallis playing alongside of Hayes, and just see how easy that pass moved across. And Tom McGuckin, a couple of rebounds early in this game. Have to watch that because that became an issue yesterday with Karpinski. He was so good with his rebound control, then he couldn't make it. And then the hat-trick scored on one of the rebounds that popped loose.
A setup in front, and Bronner shanks it just wide. Hard check by Nicola Levesque after the play, and Freeman corrals the puck at the red line and will dump it back in deep. Ruiz throws a hard hit. Wrapping around the boards, picked up now by the captain Fallis. Dishes it to his right. Entering in now is Lenartson. Sends it towards the net, turned out McGuckin. Lirakos is stripped by Ruiz. Crosses red line and will dump it in deep. The Hat-Tricks' MO right now just trying to get the puck deep and keep their shifts a bit short. It's not resulting in a whole lot of sustained O-zone time, but they're just trying to get it in behind the defense and try to let their speed do the work.
Absolutely. Right now it's just all about trying to counter just like this. Anderson ahead of speed, but that's what you need, a short time in the zone for Columbus right now because they're spending a lot of time down there, and that's a great example of making an adjustment. Get the puck quickly, force some board play, and then get out quickly. That's a good adjustment there.
Bolin Porter takes a back pass and had sent that up into the netting. It went off a Columbus stick, so we will do it to the right of Rutledge. Bolin Porter will remain out there with Anderson and with Matthias Kasich. Kasich, as you mentioned earlier, Jack, had a pair of goals last night, including the game's first tally, a power play goal. And Corey Anderson extended what is now a 7-game point streak. A hard open ice hit draws some oohs and ahs from Section 102 as Bolin Porter took down Jay Krupp. Now Bolin Porter will chase after the puck against Tim Santapalo. Gets a stick on it, but Santapalo sends it back out into safety, where Anderson will have to hold the blue line and backhand it ahead. He'll go off for a change. Up to the blue line where Bondarenko gets it through the legs of Shinkarik, but not connecting with the stick of Krupp. Now a takeaway by Graham. Once more met by Gavrik, and he carries it up. Gavrik with numbers, trying to get it to Kasich. Good break up there by Shapitzin. Now back the other way in transition comes Columbus. Here's Krupp with Bondarenko behind him, drops it back, looking across the way, broken up by Kasich. Broken play finds its way to McGuckin, who has to paddle it to the corner. Now Graham with a stuff-in try, rolls off his stick, and Morrissey will pick it up.
Columbus got caught there, or rather took advantage, so they caught Danbury in a break.
Morrissey now with a sharp angle try that's fought off by Rutledge.
We got a lot of credit to Matthias Kasich. The puck got stuck underneath him while he dove out to make that pass block. It worked perfectly, and it pushed the puck to the side.
Oh, and falling down to the ice is Clouston, and that gets a Bronx cheer from the Section 102 faithful. Well, we saw in the early going as now Hayes takes it away. Hayes cutting across the end line. A backhand shot trailing by Dimmitt gets sent wide. Now set up for Gerson. His shot goes off the side of the net. Kept in by Clouston. Tremendous pressure from the River Dragons. Out to Hayes. Has it in his skates. Knocked off by Tuma and picked up by the Hat-Tricks. A 3-on-2 if they hurry. Shinkarik will weakly play it ahead and go off for a change. That's the problem, is that as soon as they're able to break out, they've had an extended shift. They're tired.
Absolutely, and they're working so hard to get the possession of the puck right now, and you see how quickly Columbus is just turning in these puck opportunities into offensive chances. They're turning on the Jets super quickly, and it's tough for Danbury to catch up. They need to get to the bench for a change. Not a lot of time in the offensive zone like you mentioned.
Clouston smoked out from behind his net by the attacking Phil Bronner. Clouston will now get it over to Dimmitt, who enters into the attacking zone. Dimmitt has with him Lennartson cutting to the net, and Dimmitt will play it towards McGuckin, and Dimmitt is brought down to the ice, and standing on top of him is Cruz Listmeyer, and it makes it clear he's just trying to grab his stick, which was underneath the body of Dimmitt.
Yeah, nothing coming there. I didn't think there needed to be, and that's one of those plays where Listmeyer lays the hit, the whistle goes kind of at the same time, and Dimmitt knows that it's all just part of the game there, nothing coming of that. And we did see one bout of fisticuffs last night, but these two teams generally calmer with each other.
Well, we saw one bout of fisticuffs last night as Kostyukov's shot is blocked in front. Here's Ruiz carrying it ahead. It was Ozelinch and Tuma who got tied up and dropped the gloves. Ruiz's shot finds its way to the netminder. Now Ruiz with another chance tries to pick a corner and sends it off the glass.
That's a better play there for the Hat-Trick setting up. He had some help with Bronner there, but I'd like Ruiz to get that shot on net. He shoots it wide, and now the Hat-Tricks have to come out of the zone, and there goes the offensive zone time.
Preston Kugler will dump it in deep, where Vlad Gavrik will retrieve. 9:40 to go in the first period. No scoring so far, but possession has been heavily dominated by the Columbus River Dragons. 7-3 so far in the early goings. Graham pitchforks it up into the air, pawed down by Bondarenko. He's shoved off the puck by Kenny Garrett. Good physical play there by number 24. And Kenny Garrett is in an interesting spot here for the Danbury defense, Jack, because Billy McCreary is still trying to figure out where everyone fits into the scheme. Steve Mealy, who normally plays on the blue line, is playing forward tonight back at his natural position. Easton Oliver out of the lineup despite playing very solid these last couple weeks. It's interesting to see how you're going to balance this ice time going forward.
Yeah, once you get all of these guys back healthy, it's almost like what pieces fit with the puzzle and where do they go? And when you have a couple of guys injured, you really don't have many options, so you just say everyone's out on the ice, and then you roll with it. Now that everyone's starting to come back from their injuries, everyone's healthy, there's a lot of plugging and unplugging that Billy McCreary has to do over these next couple of weeks.
And I tell you, one of the quickest ways to endear yourself to the coach is physicality.
Yep.
Freeman knocked a man down, and Morrissey gets a shot that goes off wide. Bouncing puck saved in front by Rutledge and steered out of danger by the stick of Shapitzin. Freeman will be back to retrieve. Up the left wing, a good two-line pass up to Shane Morrissey. Morrissey tries to dump it in deep. It goes off the official, and Morrissey is able to keep it in deep.
And to your point, Casey, about Freeman, he was one of those guys who had grown so much as a player and then took that lower body injury, missed all that time. And I talked to him about it, and he said, hey, this is a thing where I'm not rushing. You know, if this was the playoffs, it'd be one thing. Right now, I just want to get better because I love where my game is at. And he's 100% right. Just the way that he's grown this season is so important for this side, and he's going to be one of those guys in the lineup every day.
Trailing slap shot goes off the belly of McGuckin, and he pounces on the loose puck in front. And we've reached the media timeout with 7:46 to go in the first period. Still no score. Well, it's interesting you mentioned, Jack, because that is the benefit of how good the Hat-Tricks have been without a lot of their key contributors. Aaron Atwell is still out with an upper body injury. He's been out for now over a month. He's up in the premium suite section, and was, in my personal opinion, the best defenseman that the Hat-Tricks had going for them, was certainly the best offensive defenseman they had. And even without them, they've been winning games, so that provides them the luxury of not having to force him back into the lineup. Same deal with Freeman.
Absolutely, and it becomes an even bigger question when Atwell actually returns. Then you say, all right, who has to be the odd man out right now? Just because there are a ton of other options, and as long as this team stays healthy, they have everything going for them. They have the depth that they need. It's just about finding the rhythm again for these guys. You sit out for a month, 6 weeks, it gets tough to come back onto the ice and play up to not necessarily the skill set, but just getting back into the game, getting that chemistry back with your defensive partners, with your forward pairings and everything moving forward. That takes time to build back up.
While we have a moment to breathe, we want to remind you to follow the Danbury Hat-Tricks at Danbury Hat-Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube feed for live game streams such as this one, as well as exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, highlights, and more. We'll be back home on the weekend of March 6th and 7th after a road trip down to Columbus, Georgia for a 3-game set with these same River Dragons next weekend. March 6th and 7th, the Danville Dashers will pay their first visit to Danbury Arena. Listmayer dumps it in deep. Levesque will be the first to retrieve at the far side boards. This line loves to do work along the wall. Levesque and Bronner try to dig the puck out. Bolin Porter is replacing Johnny Ruiz so far on this line. Puck bouncing back towards Listmayer. Liarakos tries to cut him off. Bolin Porter will pick it up. Bolin Porter once more at the red line. Met by Liarakos and tied up in the neutral zone, and finally escapes out into open space where Steve Brown will retreat back to behind his net. Up to Kasich on the right wing.
Casey, you wonder if these early line changes for the Hat-Tricks and Coach McCreary are just trying to get his offense going. Johnny Ruiz on the bench, no injury issues there. He's got a stick, no equipment issues either. Might just be one of those things, hey, let's get something going here. Let's get the guys going.
Anderson is posting up in the slot. They're looking for him. It's broken up by the stick of Liarakos. Here's Anderson on the right wing, looking across the way, intended for Bolin Porter.
He had Kasich down there alongside the goal line.
Once more to the high slot. Anderson turns and fires, easily gloved out of the air, seen all the way by Rutledge.
And another thing, Casey, is Karpinski's playing as one of the hottest goaltenders right now in the Federal Prospects Hockey League. And Jared Rutledge, I mean, he's basically lost his starting job to Karpinski just the way he's been playing. Rutledge, his numbers are a lot shakier compared to Karpinski, so this is an important game for the Hat-Tricks. They need to take advantage of that, and they need to move forward. It's just the facts right there. I mean, 419 goals allowed against, below 89% save percentage. You have to attack this goalie. Right now they haven't been able to really get any quality chances on goal.
Shinkarik and Mealy play the cycle game along the wall. Out to Gavrik at the point. Rolling off the stick. Bad angle try by Morrissey. Rattles off the glass and out of play. And you are right, Jack, in that Rutledge, even though he has been winning games lately, that's more indicative really of his team's play than his, as that gets sent up to the doorstep, and they score! What a feed from Shinkarik to Morrissey! A point-blank chance, and it's 1-0 Hat-Tricks.
Well, there's that connection once again between Shinkarik and Morrissey. Morrissey finds himself in the dirty area, gets right up close to the goal, and it's just a great pass right there. He's able to find his partner, Shinkarik, to Morrissey. Morrissey does well here to stuff it in. We're not used to see him kind of get those greasier goals. He gets right in there and sneaks it on that near side post and beats Rutledge, and that's clearly over the goal line. The referee calls it. There was a kick out as one of the River Dragons came in and fired the puck out of the net, trying to catch the referee napping, but he saw it clearly cross the goal line, could see it from up here, and this one counts for the hat-tricks. And just like last night, they get on the board first.
And look at the sea of carrots that's out at center ice.
Oh,
It must be so strange for the uninitiated, because this is the first time that the Columbus River Dragons are here in Danbury and the first time their fans get to see the antics of Danbury Arena. I must imagine that if you have no idea what this is, and all of a sudden you just see a bunch of carrots raining down onto the ice, you must be scratching your head, shaking, going, what is happening
What is
here?
going on here? Oh, we had a couple of good promotions tonight, Casey, birthday parties, and we're doing our daycare and preschool night, so we welcome all the local daycares and preschools, complimentary bags of carrots for all students and children enrolled in those schools and programs. So that's why there are a couple of extra carrots out there on the ice tonight. But it is a strange thing that happens, and yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of minor league sports.
Exactly.
You know, you can
Tradition.
have these odd scenarios, you know? Well, for Shane Morrissey, that is his 13th goal of the season, his 13th goal in 14 games as a member of the Danbury Hat-Tricks. I mean, what an impact he's had on this lineup since joining. He extends his point streak now to 7 games. He's got 15 points in that 7-game stretch.
He's just been an incredible addition, and I have to give so much credit to Billy McCreary. I mean, he's gone out, and after the initial couple of weekends, he's continued to add to his really repertoire of tools that he has, and one of the pickups was Carter Shinkarik, and then another pickup a month and a half, almost 2 months later, was Shane Morrissey, and that connection has carried over from the SPHL into Danbury Hat-Tricks hockey, and Shane Morrissey playing with Shinkarik, you see how much that's helped both of them.
Well, Shinkarik is riding now. He extends the longest active point streak right now on the Hat-Tricks, 12 games now for Carter Shinkarik. And in that stretch, he has 27 points, including a pair of hat-tricks. I mean, that connection has been so electric. That's got to be one of the best dynamic duos at this point in the FPHL. You're reminded of, Dalton Jay and Matt Robertson in Port Huron. You're reminded of, Mafuz and Michaelis in Elmira. It's these dynamic duos that will carry you deep into the postseason, and they're getting hot at the right time.
And you wonder what it would have been like if Morrissey and Shinkarik came up at the same time. I mean, there's about a 20 games played difference between the two of them. Shinkarik obviously been here longer.
Well, Lennartson rifles one into the padding of Carter Shinkarik. And, well, the reason why Shane Morrissey wasn't here was because he was playing at a higher level, and you can't fault him for that. Shane Morrissey has ECHL experience, and he was playing with the Birmingham Bulls, and he's been bouncing around, and he found a home here in Danbury, and it seems like at least he's here to stay. I would imagine if anyone came calling for him, Billy McCreary and company would probably fight tooth and nail to keep him in the roster.
Well, that's one thing, too, Casey. We saw at one point guys were getting called up left and right to the SPHL, and now it seems like everyone just really has just stayed here. They're committed to the process.
Entering in, now crossing the way. Bronner backdoor for Ruiz. It went off his skates. Pass was just too far in front of Ruiz.
Yeah, he just couldn't handle it. Good idea, though, for Bronner to get that pass back to him. Would have been perfect if it was on the stick of his tape. He just ran out of room.
5:14 to go here in the first period. 1-0 is your score in favor of the Hat-Tricks, and I feel like a broken record in that momentum swings. The first 10 minutes dominated by the River Dragons. Now that the Hat-Tricks have a goal under their belts, they get an offensive zone chance again back the other way, a 2-on-1, and here they are with another offensive zone draw. Bolin Porter with Anderson and Bunnell. Bolin Porter tries to win it back. Lennartson cuts the puck off, and off to the races go the River Dragons. Lennartson in past the defense. Lennartson moving in. He scores! Answering right back, Anton Lennartson. We're tied at 1.
Yeah, Lennartson had a great game yesterday, and while we were talking about Morrissey after that first goal, this line getting involved again with Fallis and, of course, Leah Rakos. And then here's Lennartson, who just Carries. Look at that speed. He shifts into fifth gear and just beats McGuckin 5-hole. Great stick handling and an even better finish. And just like that, Columbus, who you thought might have gotten taken out of the game with the early goal, they jump right back into it and tie things up.
Well, that's just how good they are and how resilient they've been. That's why you've won 12 of your last 14. Anton Lennartson will pick up his 8th goal of the season and his 2nd goal of the weekend. And you feel like you're watching the same script as last night. The hat trick strike first. Lennartson answers back to even up the score. So we find ourselves back to even here at Danbury Arena. Out to Kostyukov, who dumps it in ahead to Kugler, flips it over to Hayes over by the hat trick's bench. Hayes entering in on Steve Brown. Meanders his way over to his right, getting around the stick of Anderson. Hayes still retaining possession. Calling for it and receiving is Kostyukov. One-timer broken up by the stick of Bunnell. Off the glass and out by Bolin Porter. Kostyukov will glove it down. Hayes over to Kostyukov, has Gerson in front of him, looking for him. It's just out of his reach. Brown and Gerson will go into the corner, and Brown will one-hand it over to his defensive partner, Martin Tuma. Tuma glides his way into the zone. Here's Mealy sliding to Morrissey. His shot right into the padding of Rutledge.
Nice little one-touch passing there through to Mealy. Mealy makes a smart decision, backhand, and Morrissey getting more involved in the offensive rush here. Good shot, even better save by Rutledge. And then the end of the play, Morrissey losing his balance, sliding into the boards. Looks like he's okay, though. Snow covered all down his back, but those plays where guys go down, feet first, sliding into the boards, those are the dangerous ones.
Shinkarik with a quick setup looking for Morrissey. Net comes off its mooring, and we'll have a stoppage again and another offensive zone face-off.
Well, this is exactly what Danbury needs to do. Do not sit back and kind of pout over giving up that quick goal. You need to reestablish yourselves as threats in the offensive zone, and that's what you need to do. Get the pucks to the front of the net.
Face-off win clean by Shinkarik. Morrissey looking for Mealy in the slot. Bondarenko read the play all the way. And that's the thing, the slot area is not nearly as open as it's been against other opponents like it was against perhaps Delaware last weekend, where you have to sort of adjust now. That play where you're going to set up in the bumper position, it's not there. Columbus reads that so well, and they've been able to intercept a lot of passes that were intended for the net front.
Absolutely, and I think Danbury's almost passing the puck a little bit too quickly. They have more time than they really think, and it's one of those things where the center of the ice and all 3/3 of the ice right now have been clogged. You really need to work to the outside and open some things up with perimeter puck movement. I think Danbury needs to tap into that style a little bit here if they want to continue to get success in the offensive part of the ice.
Levesque on the right wing sends it in deep for Bronner. Has Ruiz in front. Ruiz fans on the shot. On the one time that there was a man open there, a pass just a bit too hard for Ruiz to handle. Tuma knocks the puck off the stick, and now Levesque up ahead once more with Ruiz. Levesque being forced against the boards by Bondarenko. Ruiz gets there first, looking for the setup in front. Bronner's there, as is Levesque. Gloves it down to himself. His shot is swallowed up by Rutledge. Rutledge up to the task early, gets a couple of bodies streaking towards him and stays strong.
And even on the kind of the funky shot there, he was able to corral the rebound. Great puck movement. We see it a bunch of times where the hat-tricks go to the goal line and then work their way back up, and this time it's Levesque who finds himself in the slot area. But there you go, the last couple of shifts. Hat-tricks working in the corners, and then they work it towards the center of the ice.
Behind the end line it goes. Clouston shielding the puck from Bunnell. Clouston will backhand it up into the neutral zone. Freeman sends it over to safety with Tuma. Tuma has Fallis bearing down on him and will send it into the Columbus zone, and this will be an icing. So Fallis doing a good job forcing Tuma into a mistake, and we'll do it back from Tom McGuckin's end over the ice over on the left side. And we're seeing Gordy Bunnell kind of bounce between a couple of different lines here as Bunnell working his way back into the lineup. At the time of his injury, his upper body injury, he was the leading assist getter for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. And now he kind of finds himself looking for a home with a right trio to try to get him activated again. We saw his limited ice time last night. We're seeing it start to increase a bit here tonight.
I think he's the best example of the puzzle piece you're trying to find where it's supposed to go right now. You're 100% right, Casey, in that Bunnell was playing really his best hockey all season long before he got hurt And it's one of those things, once you get him going, you know what he's capable of. It's just a matter of, again, finding the right spot for him in this now very, very deep forward lineup.
And he has, time and space to grow because he's replacing Casper Dierson, who is out with an injury, on the line with Corey Anderson and Matthias Kasich as that goes up into the netting, and we'll do it from the neutral zone. But, once Casper Dierson comes back, now you've really got a log jam up on the forward lines. And it looks like we'll have the penalty box doors are opening. I don't believe there's a penalty coming.
Yeah, they just handed the puck to one of the linesmen there. Well, we haven't seen a penalty yet in this game
yet.
so far. It's been very clean.
Not yet, and it took a while. Danbury did a very good job of staying out of the box yesterday. Only one power play opportunity for Columbus last night. Danbury was 1 for 4 on special teams, and even though they were able to open the game with a power play goal, Columbus did a great job of shutting them down. Columbus boasting the second-best penalty kill unit in the league. Bolin Porter is being forced to retreat by the speed of Hayes. Hayes leaves the puck now for Dimmitt, who enters in, and they will rule it offside. And interesting, the offside rule came from very deep into the offensive zone. You don't see that ruling coming very often.
I saw that a couple times last night. Columbus very overeager to get in the attacking zone for them. And it got called a couple times, really kind of stymied a couple of nice rushes that they had too.
Bolin Porter will start up the ice. He's got Ruiz, Bronner, Levesque, and Brown with him. Bolin Porter looking towards the net front, broken up by the legs of Preston Kugler. Kugler will pick it up, leave it for Gerson. Picked off by Ruiz. Ruiz entering in well offside. Well, now they blow the whistle for an offside. I don't even think that Ruiz crossed the blue line, but Levesque was in so deep, they'll blow the whistle anyway.
The linesman right there to make that call, and Ruiz saw how Levesque kind of was trying to drag his foot and realized he was going to have no shot at that. That was going to be a clear offside. Tried to pull it back. Didn't think he did it well enough. And this first period's gone by relatively quickly. Haven't seen a lot of stoppages. Good pace of play right here. And hey, we're at this 1-1 scoreline again, Casey. You said it. It feels like deja vu all over again between these two sides. Back and forth, back and forth.
Tuma looking ahead for Morrissey. Clouston for Columbus, trying to escape. He's able to. He gets the puck out to the neutral zone. Gavrik will amble behind the Hat-Trick's net. Final minute of play here in the first. 1-1 is your score. Morrissey scored, which was answered in short order by Lennartson. Now Tuma has a stretch pass intercepted by Bondarenko. Tuma throws a check, but now Krupp entering in. Krupp brought down by the stick of Gavrik, never got a shot off. I think Krupp was trying to nurse a trip there, and he had a case. His stick was in his skates. Here's Gavrik with a weak shot that goes wide. Here's Morrissey looking for Mealy down low. Mealy met by the defense. Anderson throws a hard check. Puck is loose in front. It's picked up by Shapitzin. Now Krupp. Lead pass intended for Bondarenko. It goes off of his stick. 20 seconds to go in the period. Gavrik spins away from a forechecker. 2. Gets it up to Morrissey. Now Morrissey in with Bunnell. 2-on-3. Waning seconds of the period. Morrissey loses the handle on the puck. Good play by Clouston. One last chance here for Danbury. Bunnell chasing the puck. 3 seconds to go. Bunnell has it along the wall. Brought down to the ice. That will do it. So chances abound on both sides. Columbus holds the shot on goal advantage 11-8, but we find ourselves knotted at 1 at the conclusion of 20 minutes. And Jack, a back and forth period, and there's so much to take in because both teams are struggling to string together, 4 or 5 consecutive dominant shifts. It's been 2 shifts of all one way, then 2 shifts all the other way. It's very hard to find I'm trying to think of what the right continuity, I guess, is the right word.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not necessarily the same couple of lines that are doing well. A line will go out and have a rough shift, come back out 3 shifts later, and really dominate possession time. So you're 100% right. There's no continuity to this game. It's very unpredictable right now between these two sides. I think, again, the end of the first period, I think you have to like where Columbus is right now. They're playing their brand of game. They're taking Danbury's offense out of the game, and they immediately responded to being down. And you saw Danbury's offense kind of take a back seat. But even then, I mean, the passing through the neutral zone hasn't been great. Danbury hasn't been able to move the puck well in their offensive zone. It's been one of those games where I think the precedent has been set defensively. Let's take care of the puck and just through the neutral zone, there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of passing lanes, and it's really the reason why we've seen lower shots on goal totals so far through this series, and really low goal totals as well.
Well, we're through the opening 20 minutes, and we've got some on-ice festivities for you, and we have an ice cut coming up. We're going to take ourselves a quick break. You're watching Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for live coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara bringing you live coverage of tonight's contest against the Columbus River Dragons. But it's time now for an FPHL out-of-town score update. Out in Watertown, the Wolves are taking on the Delaware Thunder, who are still fighting for a playoff spot. They are currently scoreless midway through the first period. Out in Mentor, Ohio, the Icebreakers, the team the Thunder are trailing, find themselves behind to the Elmira Enforcers 3-0. The Icebreakers continue their slip and slide, and they relieved their head coach of his coaching duties this evening. So perhaps trying to shake things up out for the Icebreakers as they continue their free fall down the standings. And in Winston-Salem, Carolina, late in the third period, the Thunderbirds find themselves trailing against the Port Huron Prowlers 2-1. So the Thunderbirds hitting a little bit of a bump in the road. They lost 3 in a row to the Danbury Hat Tricks here at Danbury Arena. They were shut out by the Columbus River Dragons a week later and now find themselves trailing to Port Huron. See if they can't find an equalizing goal as they progress through the final frame. Meanwhile, here in Danbury, the Hat Tricks taking on the River Dragons, tied at 1 heading into the second period. Opening the scoring was Shane Morrissey, who was answered in turn by Anton Lenartson. Lenartson with a beautiful breakaway goal in on Tom McGuckin was able to beat Kenny Garrett as the two of them were racing from the blue line. Those powerful strides of Anton Lenartson as he was able to break past the defense, really had possession of the puck from his own portion of the neutral zone and was able to maneuver his way ahead and get a backhander through the 5-hole of Tom McGuckin. So the Columbus River Dragons and Danbury Hat Tricks currently locked really in a back-and-forth battle. Neither team has fully established a dominant period to date. Hat Tricks now will deal with the long change. They won last night's second period 2-1. Took a 3-2 lead into the third period. River Dragons, of course, won that game last night in overtime, courtesy of a late third period goal from Chase Falls, and then C.J. Hayes beat Dylan Kelly in extra time. Hat Tricks trying to flip the script tonight as the Columbus River Dragons off the faceoff. Clouston tries to hit it off the glass and out. Clouston once more will hold it. Now he'll sky it up into the air. This will go all the way down towards McGuckin. It will be wide of his net, and they will deem it no icing as Steve Brown held up, hit the brakes. Intended for Morrissey on the left wing. Clouston will retrieve in front of his own bench. Up to Fallis, who will pitchfork it ahead. He's met by the big body of Martin Tuma. Now spinning around is Steve Mealy. Tuma now communicating with Ozelinch over by the bench. Here's Shinkarik with a backhander that's blocked in front. Tuma now will skate over towards his bench. We'll keep an eye on that. The two of them fought last night. Morrissey has a shot go up off a defensive stick and up into the netting. Tuma and Ozelinch both dropped the gloves, and as Tuma was skating over towards his bench, he stopped in front of Columbus's bench, and Ozelinch waved him forward. He said, "Come on, let's dance." And well, Ozelinch obviously can't leave his bench just to drop the gloves. That would be suspension-worthy, but nevertheless, the two of them exchanging words. Even still, the two of them leaning over their divider between them. Cody Karpinski, the only thing separating the two of them, is Levesque with a one-time shot. That one's caught by the blocker of Rutledge. Now another try from the hash marks as Phil Brunner has a backhander that's blocked. And up the right wing comes Graham. He and Kugler come together in the corner. Out towards Levesque in the neutral zone. Levesque trying to get it across the way to Bronner. Has Ruiz behind him. Bronner has the puck taken away from him by number 22, Jay Krupp. Now out, a pass out in front. Ruiz with a shot. He scores! Bronner to Ruiz. It's 2-1 Hat Tricks. And what a setup in front that was for Phil Bronner. Bronner plants himself in the right place at the right time to receive a bouncing puck over at the far side post. Bronner loves to pick up the puck in the dirty areas right in front of the netminder. He's where he's usually positioned, right in that blue paint. He's over there at the far side post, is able to dish it out to a waiting Johnny Ruiz. Ruiz has time and space, able to pick a corner, and beats Rutledge. And the Hat Tricks find themselves ahead on the scoreboard once more. So for Johnny Ruiz, Ruiz last night saw an 8-game point streak come to an end. Looking to begin a new one here tonight as he finds the back of the net with his 22nd goal of the year. Bronner will get the primary assist. For Bronner, it is his 27th assist, and Nikola Levesque will pick up his 29th assist. Kasich in the corner, out with Bunnell and Anderson. Anderson planting himself at the near side circle. Kasich shielding the puck along the wall, cycles it down low. Dimmitt will pick it off. Picked up now by Gerson. Gerson brought down by the stick of Kasich, and that will result in the game's first penalty. Ozelinch looking up the ice, picked off by Kasich before Rutledge is able to get over towards his bench. And it will be the first power play opportunity of the game for the Columbus River Dragons. Well, the River Dragons have just the 8th best power play in the FPHL, operating at just 16.5%. They were 0 for 1 last night. They will have Fallis, Liarakos, and Lennartson as the forwards. Shapitzin will be out with Klauston to complete the 5-man unit. Shinkarik and Braun are the 2 penalty kill forwards, with Vlad Gavrik and Steve Brown. Tripping officially the call against number 96. Klauston will hold behind his net. Klauston with Shinkarik throwing a stick check on him, gets it over to Shapitzin over on the far side midboards. Shapitzin now another back pass for Klauston as the River Dragons taking their sweet time getting out of their own end. Now across the way, Liarakos with Fallis to the net, looking backdoor. Fallis, what a kick save by McGuckin! Fallis wasn't really able to get his stick on the puck for a clean shot. It was coming in slowly. That allowed McGuckin enough time to get a leg pad on that.
Absolutely, Casey. That's a goal if Fallis gets his stick on that puck, but just a little bit slow and behind him.
Halfway through this power play, Lennartson behind the net as Shapitzin setting a screen in front. Pass goes off of the stick of Gavrik and out into the neutral zone where Klauston will retreat, pursued by Shinkarik. Looking to thread the needle for Liarakos. Instead, it finds its way to McGuckin, who sends it up into the netting. That went cleanly up into the glass. Well, they will say it was deflected off the glass.
Yeah, hit the glass first and then went into the netting, so no penalty there, but looks like the pressure is on. Obviously, the right way to start this period for Danbury, but you have to kill off the remainder of this 47 to really feel like you've accomplished the first quarter of the period.
The first hurdle, really,
Yeah.
as it's the first power play opportunity of the game for either side. A shot attempt from the point is blocked in front. Now Dimmitt out to the far side point. Taking a step in, Kostyukov. His shot is swallowed up by McGuckin, and Listmeyer brings a man down next to the net. That's Gerson. As Listmeyer will pop back up to his feet and exchange some pleasantries. Dimmitt with Gerson to his right, Hayes to his left. Kugler and Kostyukov complete the power play with 30 seconds to go. Long shot is gloved off the ice by McGuckin, and we'll have another offensive zone draw for the River Dragons.
You want to keep this penalty kill moving for Danbury, and if you're Columbus, you know that how strong you played when they're down. They've been down in this series often, and it's almost like they prefer to be back there. They gain momentum when they're down in these games, and if you're Danbury right now, you have to fight this penalty kill, and you have to be able to jump back in your offense once you're back on a 5-on-5.
20 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Trying to poke it ahead was Mealy. Now Morrissey entering in. Morrissey squares to the net, blocked by the legs of Kugler. One last rush with the man advantage. Intended for Gerson, out of his reach, goes back behind the end line, and that's the Cardinal sin, icing on the power play.
You don't want to do that, and it looked like they had some quality possession time for Columbus. It just wasn't working to their advantage, and now Danbury knows with just 4 seconds left on the ticks for Kasich, he's going to come out of this box, and they're going to kill this off.
Face-off won by Shinkarik, a short angle try. Goes up into the netting. Ooh, Shinkarik with a sneaky little play off the face-off. And we've seen Shinkarik try that a couple of times this year. Hasn't been able to bury one yet, but he loves to push the puck forward when given the opportunity, and he's gotten a couple of good chances.
Absolutely. I really like this play. He's a little bit quiet in this series. Obviously, he's going to get that primary assist for Morrissey's goal in the first period, but he just brings so much great play on both ends of the ice for this team, and he makes those smart plays with the puck. He's got such a high hockey IQ. Really important for this team.
Well, the strength of your best player, of course, you want him to be able to play at all three strengths. That's when you know you've got a real winner on your hands, is that you're not just an offensive weapon. You can also play in your own zone and play on the penalty kill, on the power play, and Shinkaruk is one of those guys. Up on the right side, here's Shinkaruk. Leads Morrissey. Morrissey with Shinkaruk. Looking for Shinkaruk, redirects it wide. Here's Mealy with the setup for Morrissey. Back pass Listmayer. Squares to the net. Long wrist shot, blocker save. Bouncing out in front, and Rutledge pounces on it. Morrissey was providing a little bit of pressure on the netminder.
Well, there you go. Danbury looked like they're kind of settling into their offensive sequence. Really like the way that they've opened up this first 5 minutes of the second period. Good possession time, and obviously the Johnny Ruiz goal helps your confidence as an offense, but this is what they need here. But again, this series, you're almost expecting Columbus to kind of ride this bombardment of shots and possession time and then turn it back the other way.
Mirakos along the wall will get it back to Shipitson. Mirakos has Kasich bearing down on him. The Rubber Dragons met at the blue line. Now a breakaway chance. Kasich in on Rutledge. What a stop, Rutledge! Denied by the glove hand.
Yeah, it all starts with a nice play at the blue line by Anderson. Just pokes it on forward. Kasich, good awareness to jump on that puck. But Rutledge up to the task.
Now back in the other way. Here's a chance for Lennartson. Has his stick lifted by Tuma. And Kasich, it doesn't get much more prime real estate than that. Breaking in all alone, time and space, no one around him. Anderson was there if the rebound bounced in front of the net, but Rutledge with a great job of angling his glove in such a way that even if he wasn't able to snatch it, was able to force it to the far side post.
Absolutely. That's all you want in those situations. You can make that initial save. Hey, I just bailed my team out on a breakaway. I want guys to follow up and make sure that the rebound's cleared. He did his job and very well, and he even did well to force that rebound out wide. And on that icing call, Phil Bronner was pleading his case to the linesman, saying, hey, I got a piece of that in the neutral zone. Should have been icing, but the officials are, well, they're coming together now. We'll see if that call changes.
Well, they're having a conversation with the officiating crew. See if perhaps the faceoff comes back out to center ice. You said it, Jack, and that Nikola Levesque and Phil Bronner were both apoplectic.
Yeah.
Well, we'll resume to the right of Tom McGuckin. Dimmitt in the faceoff dot against Ruiz. Tied up on the faceoff circle and knocked down to the ice by Hayes. That gets a roar of approval from the Danbury faithful.
Well, Phil Bronner just taking his anger out on the official on a poor Hayes.
You would hate to be in a car wreck with Phil Bronner, wouldn't you? Because his road rage, you would think, would take over. He always jokes that his road rage is bad, and if that's how he exacts revenge on someone, you'd hate to be on the wrong end of that.
Well, just his legendary status. I mean, if I bumped him in the back, gave him a little fender bender, I'd get out of the car. Or if he hit me, I'd get out of the car and apologize. He's one of those kinds of guys.
Well, you shouldn't have been there.
Just the respect factor. Phil Bronner is a Danbury legend.
Phil Bronner, of course, a former member of the Danbury Titans squad that made the Eastern Conference Final in 2015-16. As part of that leadership group was an alternate captain, and there will be a 2015-16 Eastern Conference Championship banner being raised to the rafters on March 7th. Entering in Hayes, but dropping the gloves back in the defensive zone. There's Levesque with Kugler. These two squared off as the Watertown Wolves. When Kugler was a member of the Wolves, he and Levesque had a fight, and Levesque pumped up the crowd mid-fight before taking down Kugler. So this is the second time they've squared off. Kugler has a couple rights, swinging and missing, uses his left hand to bring Levesque down. So Kugler gets revenge on Levesque. Levesque didn't really have a chance to land a shot. Honestly, Kugler didn't land very many punches either.
Yeah, if anything, he was just getting a slight piece of Levesque. It was one of those hockey fights where the ice factor comes into play. They have to take care of balance first, and Levesque just loses his footing there from the little arm shove that Kugler gives him. Those two were jawing a little bit back and forth in these past couple of games, and you wonder if just that previous fight sparks a little bit of, the past comes back to haunt both of them. But I think it was a clean fight. It was one that you won't see a lot of fireworks from, but just a little action to hype up the crowd a little bit, get them going.
Well, Levesque has always been kind of the guy to recognize when his team needs a jolt. And even though he gets taken down, he and Kugler, like as mentioned before, do have history, so it's unsurprising to see the two of them tangle. And I'm sure Preston Kugler, after really what was eventually a viral clip after the fact, because Levesque stopped mid-fight on December the 28th and waved his arms to the crowd while tying up Kugler with his left hand. I've never seen that before in a fight.
It was incredible, and
It's like something
everyone
out
was
of
kind of
Goon.
just watching it. It was such a long fight that people started to die down from their initial excitement. And he said, hey, everybody, come on, we're still going here. It was very, very impressive that he was able to just kind of lock him up.
Hayes with a shot from between the hash marks that's shouldered off by McGuckin. It's a very Doug Glattian move.
Yeah, yeah. There's a strange resemblance, too, with the nice beard there.
That's true. Shinkarik met at the blue line by a fellow number 10 in Bondarenko. Here's Hayes entering in on a backhand pass down low for Gerson. It rolls off his stick. Gerson finished into the boards by Shinkarik. Sends it down low. Here's Bondarenko. Has Gerson in front looking for him. Goes up into his midsection. McGuckin with a pad save. Puck pops out to Morrissey. Morrissey and Shinkarik. Shinkarik motions for Morrissey to enter in alone. He has to go off for a change, and Morrissey will dump it in deep and go off himself.
It's a smart play, and you go back to that chance in front of McGuckin there. He was just staying on his knees, keeping everything in front of him. But the most important thing, I think, is Columbus didn't have anybody in that blue paint area to try to tap that puck in because Danbury did such a good job of protecting their goaltender, so it was easy for Danbury to clear the puck.
Protecting the house. It's been a point of focus for Billy McCreary and company. Bolin Porter takes the puck away. Slides it to Bunnell. Bunnell dances around a defender, gets it over to Kasich with a shot sent wide. Now Bunnell again on the post. That he's met by the defense. Now up comes Krupp. Leads Graham. A couple of former Brewster FHL players. Krupp to the net. Graham was knocked down to the ice by Bunnell, and now we have Freeman dropping the glove. And away they go. He and Vaughn Clouston.
Tuma, too. With Ozelinch, they go at it again.
So Freeman comes down on top of one with a big uppercut, and Tuma went down underneath Ozelinch. Double trouble. Freeman, Tuma, Ozelinch, and Clouston. As we have to pick up a mess.
That's a yard sale.
Gloves and sticks abound. As the two of them will be escorted, and Nick Levesque daps up his teammates as they make their way into the bench. And boy, again, this is the second night in a row that Tuma has fought. Freeman, in his first game back, fights. At least you feel comfortable in the fact that your defensemen come back into the lineup and feel comfortable enough to drop the gloves.
Well, both lower body injuries, maybe you say, hey, I just need to use my upper body for fighting. But, yeah, I mean, Freeman's looked good with a couple of shifts that we've seen him out there. Looks confident in his skating, and obviously his physical play hasn't left. That's rare. We see number 18 drop the gloves. He got a good piece, too.
That is his first fighting major of the year.
Yeah. And Clouston was one of the recipients of some words yesterday for some cheeky things that he did in the defensive zone, knocking players down behind the play a little bit. A little bit of a pesky player, and Freeman takes care of business there, and then Tuma and Ozelinch, I mean, they're...
Well, we were saying at the beginning of the period, Jack, is that the two of them were leaning over the boards, yapping at each other. And it was only a matter of time before that powder keg erupted. It just so happened to explode at the same time as Thomas Freeman.
You wonder if anything's going to go up on the board here, because Ozelinch was the one who came in and kind of cross-checked Gordy Bunnell to kind of start everything going on. And, well, the officials are talking right now to Clouston.
Well, when two fights are happening simultaneously, a misconduct usually comes with that. It's just a matter, I think, of who gets what. Who was technically what fight started first is really your first question. And it happened really simultaneously. I saw Freeman drop his gloves first. And it's almost like Vaughn Clouston took a look at that, needed a second to recognize, oh, he dropped his gloves. Okay, here we go. Let's dance. And while that was happening, across the way, Tuma and Ozelinch, it's almost as if Tuma didn't recognize that Freeman was going to answer his own bell. So Tuma felt that he was going to stand up for his teammate. And, well, this is exactly what you expect from a Danbury game, really. I mean, you're right. It's not exactly the infamous New Haven night line brawl against the Cape Cod Bluefins from 2012, but it's something.
Now, we don't often see multiple going on at once. I think that's the thing that we'll take away. And the official just came over, pointed to both benches, and flashed his fingers 5-on-5. So I think we'll keep the penalties off the scoreboard in particular. The statisticians, though, well, they have a lot of work to do.
Our stat crew for the evening, Grace McNamara, leading the way with Cooper McLean and Roger Katz. We thank them, as always, for their dedication and support. So while we have a moment to breathe here, I want to take a moment, Jack, to recognize, amidst all the hostility, recognize a member of the Columbus River Dragons organization who deserves a bit of credit. Zach DeBozart, the broadcaster and vice president of communications for the River Dragons, broadcasted his 100th career professional hockey game yesterday for the River Dragons. Congratulations to Zach, who was the former broadcaster last year for the Commissioner's Cup champ Carolina Thunderbirds.
Yeah, Zach is a great guy. We look at him just to our left down there. Fantastic guy. Pleasure speaking with him yesterday, and a huge congrats. 100, that's a great accomplishment, and it's the first of 100 of what hopefully will be many for Zach.
Yeah, so congratulations are in order for him. He's one of several players and members of the River Dragons squad who came over from that Commissioner's Cup champion winning team. Jake Krupp won a Commissioner's Cup last year with Carolina. He's not the only one in that roster, as Chase Fallis, the captain, also won last year with Carolina.
Oh, and you see that can definitely have an effect. Obviously, Scott Brand coming over and doing all these great things with this organization. It's really starting to pick up and build, and they have a very, very strong foundation, great leadership from top to bottom, and obviously a great broadcaster too. That always does help. And this is a team, again, they're not to be taken for granted by any means. They're a competitive team. They've taken down Danbury. They've taken down Carolina. They're a tough out as we move into April. It's going to be very, very difficult. You do not want this team against you in the playoffs.
Great broadcaster for Zach DeBozart. Don't just take our word for it. He's the reigning FPHL Broadcaster of the Year. 9.5 to go here. 9.5 into the period, I should say, in the second. Hat-Trick's leading 2-1. As Cruz Listmeyer throws a check, and it looks like he'll be penalized for it as he came together with MJ Graham.
Yeah, that's one of those things. He's just got to stay more disciplined. Cruz Listmeyer, I think Graham's going to go off too. He must have said something or done something beforehand. I didn't see if he did anything. Well, oh my goodness, there's no room in either box.
You've got 4 hat-tricks and 3 River Dragons. It's getting crowded. That's about as crowded as we've seen it all year, even with all the madness with the Delaware Thunder last weekend.
Well, the boxes stayed relatively...
Yeah, it was more of a one-at-a-time kind of deal, you know? Everyone gets their turn.
Maybe 3, but 4 in each box. That's fun. Order a pizza.
Domino's is still open at this point, right?
Oh, we might have some left over in the concession stand. We'll have one of the press box guys run over and
there you go.
Set the players up. Probably wouldn't be best for skating.
I imagine skating after Domino's might sit in your stomach like a rock. Here's Gavrick cutting across the end line, then it rolls off his stick.
Well, it's like one of those things you have to wait 30 minutes to swim after you eat.
Here's Hayes with a shot that's kicked out by McGuckin. Kasich entering in past Kostyukov. Offsetting penalties for roughing is the call for Graham and Listmeyer. Out to Gavrick, 4-on-4 with a shot that's blocked in front, bouncing into the skates of Kasich. It's taken away by Columbus. Dimmitt will get it back to Lennartson. 9.5 to go in the second period. Lennartson holding. Now ambles to his right, dishes to his left. Kostyukov back to his defensive partner, Lennartson. Up the left wing, Lirakos with Fallis. Fallis drags the toe. His shot is kicked out by McGuckin. Steve Brown might have gotten a stick on it. Now here's Bronner the other way. Switches with Ruiz. Bronner In turn, drags the toe. Backhander! What a beauty! What a goal! Phil Bronner! Goodness me, what a shot! And the Hat-Tricks lead 3-1.
Oh, Phil Bronner with an absolute play. That's ESPN top 10. All right, that is unbelievable. The toe drag, the move, the backhand off the pipe and in. Phil Bronner, you don't see that type of skill from number 8. That was absolutely incredible. An absolute magic trick from the alternate captain.
Well, it's reminiscent of the backhand goal he scored earlier in the year against the Battle Creek Rumblebees. If you remember back on November the 22nd against Battle Creek, he had the puck in the corner and used that same kind of toe drag move. You use the toe of your stick to get it to your backhand and roof it. And Phil Bronner, this time he's coming in straight in on the netminder. Different from cutting in across the goal line. You don't have as much to work with laterally. Your netminder is coming out and cutting off that angle. That's a testament to just how good that backhander is from Phil Bronner. That was lethal.
He absolutely pulls the rabbit out of the hat on that one. Incredible, incredible goal. And that is an impressive goal, too, because now you have the 2-goal cushion. Now things are changed a little bit in this game, whereas prior we saw Columbus right back in the swing of things. We'll see if they can bring it down to 3-2. But if Danbury can withstand a 2-goal lead here, that might be also important for this side. Again, keep your foot on the gas pedal. Still plenty of time left in this game. But that's a great start.
And here's Morrissey with a chance that rolls off the stick. Shapitson with a great job to get a stick on it. And I tell you what, the importance of that goal is that it comes after Chase Fallis tried a move of his own. You know, Fallis tried to drag the toe, and his shot was stopped by McGuckin. As here's Gerson behind the net, and he corrals the puck set up for Bondarenko. Can't get a shot off. Lurking in the neutral zone, receiving is Morrissey. Morrissey breaking in on Rutledge. Morrissey shanked it wide. Got too much of the meat on his stick on it.
Yeah, but look at the find. Carter Shinkarik head up, saw Morrissey kind of hanging around the blue line.
Now Bondarenko with a turnaround shot that goes off the glass. Under 8 minutes to go here in the second. Ice well open, even with the 4-on-4. You find a lot of north-south action. Shinkarik. Over to Gavrik. Up to Bunnell, gloves it down to himself. In on Lenartson, chops it to his left. Bunnell with a shot that's stopped by Rutledge, and he holds.
You're starting to see Gordy Bunnell get a little bit stronger with his stick handling, a little bit more involvement in the offense, and we see some of the players make their way back to the benches. Things have been relieved in the penalty box area.
Well, we've reached the media timeout, and while we have a moment to breathe, we want to remind you to follow the Danbury Hat-Tricks at Danbury Hat-Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for live game streams such as this one, as well as exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, highlights, and more. We have a mid-period rendition of God Bless America, a new addition to the happenings here at Danbury Arena.
I mean, why not? It is a special day in American history.
That is true. It is the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, one of the greatest sporting events, if not the greatest sporting event in American history. I did a senior thesis in high school on that game, actually.
I could imagine it was incredible.
It's one of my finer works, honestly and truly. It was A very fascinating game that really started to spell the beginning of the end for the Soviet hockey program, because after that game really served as a seminal turning point for them as the Russian dynasty continued until the early 90s. But you started to see more players defect, and the Russian Five formulated for the Detroit Red Wings, and the likes of, Slava Fetisov, coming over to America, which opened the doors for Pavel Bure and Alexander Mogilny and all of these great Russian players who've come in. And now you have Russian players in the league like Alexander Ovechkin, who got his 700th career goal tonight against the New Jersey Devils.
And a really good story and ESPN 30 for 30 that you should watch is of Miracles in Men. It's the true story of the aftermath for the players, for the country, the Soviet Union, and how that game changed everything.
You know what always fascinates me about that game is that it was shown on tape delay.
Yeah.
Gerson enters in and a shot goes wide. I mean, can you imagine a monumental sporting event like that happening and airing 2 hours after it happened? You couldn't do that in the age of Twitter, as the shot goes redirected up into the netting. With social media now, the immediacy of that moment, the spontaneity of that moment would be completely lost.
And one of the challenges, obviously, we're privileged with all the channels and the streaming networks that we have. It was pretty much ABC or bust back then, and that's why, it's the Soviet Union versus the United States, and they weren't expecting a good game, and that's exactly why it was on tape delay. Was the expectation wasn't as high for the performance, but the USA came out and pulled off one of the greatest upsets in sports history, and it lives on and to this day as truly a remarkable time. And this day comes every year, and it just makes me want to watch Miracle.
Miracle was on in the Rabbit Hole Bar area on the NHL Network. And you see a couple of USA jerseys littered around the arena today. I saw Jack O'Callahan over to our right. The jersey, not the player. Jack has not been invited yet to Danbury Arena, though, Jack, if you're listening.
We would welcome you with open arms.
Here's Mealy with a lead pass for Morrissey in behind the defense. Morrissey, backhander, stopped by Rutledge. Morrissey again with a breakaway, and once again comes up empty.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rutledge, it almost like he likes to play with players on the break like that. Reading. He goes to the glove side, and you saw that similar move earlier in the first period, and he made a glove save on a breakaway. So Rutledge has hung in there, and he's faced the 16 shots, obviously. But those breakaways are almost guaranteed at this point. 3 breakaways now for the hat-tricks, and none of them have gone in.
Freeman pinching in. Puck escapes past him. Freeman back out onto the ice, and the penalty boxes are finally vacated on both sides with 5.5 to go here in the second. Anderson to the far side corner, has Kasich and Bonnell out with him. Anderson spins away from a check, has a look to the net, shoots it high and wide. Now into the skates of C.J. Hayes. Hayes leaves it back for Kugler. Diving effort by Anderson, and that draws some oohs and ahs, and he blocks it again. Now in comes Levesque. Levesque spins away from a hit, has Kasich in front. Kasich with a shot just wide.
The puck rolling a little bit there, Casey. That's why he couldn't get the shot on net.
What a terrific shift by Anderson to set that up. Now here's Bronner. Ruiz with a turnaround shot off the glass and out.
This is the energy that Danbury needed last night in the third period.
Now lead pass. Here's Levesque in 3-on-2. Levesque stops short. Over to Bronner. Shanked it just high. It rolled up on his stick. Ruiz now down low for Levesque. Levesque with a stuff-in attempt that rolls off his stick. Ooh, and too close for comfort for Jared Rutledge.
Yeah, all-out attack.
Ruiz has his stick lifted from behind by Preston Kugler. Ruiz is tossed down to the ice. Now Bondarenko the other way, enters in with Hayes. Bondarenko to the slot, looking for the setup, denied by McGuckin. Kept alive by Shinkarik. 4:15 to go in the frame, 3-1 Danbury. Here's Shinkarik up the right side. Evades a defender. Looking for the wraparound, lost the handle on the puck. Gerson will pick it up. Over to Krupp on the left side, leads Graham. Graham in all alone, surrounded by 4 hat tricks, still gets it to the slot. His shot goes into the elbow of McGuckin, and he holds.
Danbury gets lucky there. Steve Mealy, equipment malfunction with his skate. Takes him forever to get back up on his feet. But you look at that previous play coming back in where McGuckin makes that right pad save. Such a big save because barreling in are Bondarenko and Hayes, two of the faster players on Columbus, and they had to go up against Marty Tuma and Cruz Lismayer, who are bruisers. They're not by any means going to outskate you, but they have to get up to the challenge, and Tom McGuckin stacking the pads there on the right side post makes a nice save after Danbury with an onslaught of chances. Great forechecking around the blue line.
Long shot seen and held by McGuckin. Boy, a lot of sticks have been strewn about the ice as well as Steve Brown lost his stick there, and that's about the fourth time that we've seen someone drop their stick here.
Well, you're going in strong, trying to go for poke checks. You bump into bodies, the next thing you know, it's flying around, and this game is very tightly wound right now. Obviously, Columbus still leading the shots on goal category. They still have a slight edge in that regard, but again, that 2-goal lead gives you so much more breathing room, I think, in this series, just the way that these two teams have played. And clock was running a couple of seconds there, but stops. Nobody caught that.
Bolin Porter on the left side. Bolin Porter has some room. Bolin Porter crossing the way, just out of reach of Kasich. Kasich cycles it for Bunnell, who in turn leaves it along the boards. He's run up against the wall. Shapitzin will pick it up. Coughed up, now Kasich. Kasich takes a hit from Shapitzin again. Off the wall, kept in at the point by Freeman, who chips it ahead towards the net. It goes into the padding of Rutledge. It looked like it caught Rutledge off guard. I don't think he expected it to find its way all the way to the net.
And it doesn't help when you have the big frame of Corey Anderson right in front of you, too. But Rutledge, I mean, he's hung in with all kinds of wacky things that he's seen today. Obviously, the breakaway shots, and that one, the little pop-up, little dump in on the goal, and he handles that one even with the traffic in front. But you just see Danbury's making it so much harder for Columbus to escape the zone here in the second period. They're just not having that success. And a late change here.
A very late change.
Wow.
In truth, I'm amazed they let him get away with it.
Yeah.
And you can see Chase Follis is leaning over the faceoff dot, questioning how they're able to do that. Ruiz is now barking, and Ruiz gets kicked out of the dot after just coming over the bench. Now here's Bronner with a backhander, blocked by Kostyukov. Levesque is planting himself in the blue paint. He wants it. Out to Ruiz with a shot. Trickles and they score! Johnny Ruiz with a change-up shot. 4-1 Danbury.
And Johnny Ruiz does not mean to do this. He just throws it to the front of the net. I believe it goes off of the stick of Liriakos. And it just connects with him and trickles in. So the goaltender, Rutledge, he's still standing up. He's got his wickets wide open because he's expecting a high shot. It hits his own man and just kind of trickles in, rolls in, just slides across the goal line. His second goal of the period, Johnny Ruiz, and now the third goal here in this period in total for Danbury. That is so huge because now they have an even larger margin.
Well, after last night was such a back-and-forth affair, as oh my, a puck goes up into the premium suite section, and there's a happy party up there in Suite B.
You have to keep your eyes and ears open.
Of course, that's prime real estate up there, and if you want information on how you could sit up there and perhaps get a little souvenir, you can head to DanburyHattricks.com/suites for more information on how you can sit in the Fairfield County Bank Vault.
Just because you're up in the upper deck, I'll call it, doesn't mean you're not prone to a puck flying up there.
No, if anything, you're kind of more prone to that because you're right on top of the ice there. It's such an interesting viewpoint that you have overhang. You can see it a bit on your broadcast screen. That's the second half. You know, people always it's odd because you can't really see the crowd as the shot goes off the glass. The crowd is on the side of our camera in the broadcast, so you can't always get a good feel for just how crowded it is, and it is very crowded here this evening. So you see the overhang, and people are always standing on the railings, and you're right on top of the ice. It's a very interesting viewpoint. It looks like we'll get a delayed call. A hold will be assessed.
I think it's going to be Vlad Gavrik behind the Hattricks net here will get called. This is a crucial moment in the game now for the River Dragons. They have to find a way to get going on the power play. Again, limited in chances all weekend long, really. I mean, this has been a disciplined game in terms, disciplined series in terms of minor penalties. Obviously, we saw the collection of players in either box because of the majors for fighting, but now this is it. This is make or break time. You can get a goal here And at 2:04, they added 5 seconds onto the clock here. So you have plenty of time now in this second period. Get one goal, you feel a little bit better about yourselves.
2-minute warning here in the second period. Graham takes a shot, kick save McGuckin. Bolin Porter skies it up into the air. It goes out into the neutral zone, and gloving it ahead is Bunnell, and he's got some space. Bunnell stops short, stripped from behind. Good play by Krupp. Read that play all the way from Gordy Bunnell. An official scoring change over the loudspeakers that the goal is credited to Nicola Levesque. They will say he got the toe of his stick on it as it was crossing the goal line, which is, he was there. I couldn't tell if Levesque got a stick on it after it had already entered the net or not. He did, in fact, touch the puck, though. Here's Graham crossing the way to Gerson. Gerson back to the point. Lennartson has Shapitzin across the way. Lennartson over to Gerson, down low. Here's Graham. Krupp is setting up between the hash marks. Slap shot attempt blocked by the stick of Bolin Porter. High slot, Lennartson has Bolin Porter standing in front of him. Bolin Porter stuffs him, and Bolin Porter with a lead pass for Bronner. Bronner with a shorthanded look. Bronner has it knocked off his stick. A good play there on a back check by Anton Lennartson.
Yeah, he's having a heck of a game here for Columbus.
40 seconds to go in the power play, 40 seconds to go in the period. Lennartson will settle it down as the hat-tricks get a partial change. Ruiz and Steve Brown come over the boards. Here's Kostyukov to Lennartson. Lennartson back to Kostyukov as he glides across the blue line. Holding on to it and cutting to his left. Hayes looking to the net. Paddle save McGuckin into the corner. Here's Santapalo. Now over for the one-time shot. They score! Igor Kostyukov. His first goal of the season. It's 4-2.
I thought he's had a really, really good start to his career in Columbus, Casey. He's played a solid defensive game both tonight and last night. And here he just gets into some space, and McGuckin's a little bit late coming over. And a shot from the blue line, you expect McGuckin to have some time to get himself set. And he just sneaks it in through the 7-hole in between the blocker and the side. Perfect pass across, and they beat the buzzer. 7.5 to go. They had the late goal in the first period yesterday. This will help immensely. Still work to do.
Once more, the River Dragons are able to beat the clock, and that will do it for the second period. 4-2 is your score. Columbus still very much so in this game, and they get the shot in the arm they so desperately needed heading into the second intermission. And Jack, that is a monumental goal for Columbus. Not only do you cut the lead down from 3-2, which is a big difference, you now have the lateness of the goal contributes to just how ferocious your attack can be to start the third, because now you've got the juice back in the tank.
Absolutely. It's kind of deflating for Danbury. You do so many great things in the offensive zone. You score all those goals. You get good possession time, and bam, that one sneaks in. And I think Tom McGuckin's had himself a really strong game, 19-21 so far. He might want that one back, and we'll see how Danbury responds in the third, because I still think that the puck is on their side of the ice right now. I think they have kind of the edge in terms of momentum, but it definitely hurts them, and that's what you wanted for Columbus. You're down by 3. You have a late power play. You connect on it in the waning seconds. You go to the locker room feeling a bit better about yourself.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here in the Danbury Arena broadcast booth as we send you into the second intermission with a 4-2 score in favor of the Danbury Hat-Tricks. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for live coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara bringing you exclusive live coverage of the Hat Tricks tonight and all season long as the Hat Tricks are battling the Columbus River Dragons. But first, it's time for the FPHL out-of-town scoreboard. Here's Jack O'Mara.
Thank you so much, Casey. In Watertown, the Wolves take a 5-1 lead, commanding over the Delaware Thunder. They're headed into the second period, 11:26 to go. Watertown looking to continue to cruise and hop up. And the second place team, Elmira Enforcers, with a 5-0 victory over the Mentor Icebreakers. Mentor parting with their head coach earlier today, so the second departure of a head coach that we've seen this season. Elmira taking care of business. They're a team to be very, very careful and wary of here in the Eastern Division. Across the way down in Carolina, the Thunderbirds take down the Port Huron Prowlers by a score of 5-2. So Carolina taking care of business there.
Boy, that's incredible because it was a 2-1 lead for Port Huron midway through the third.
Wow.
That was remarkable what a turnaround that is.
A great comeback there. And then the final game in action, Danville hosting the Battle Creek Rumblebees and Casey. Danville's up 2-0. We just can't.
I tell you what, Battle Creek was eliminated from the playoffs last night, and I'll be honest, I feel like a part of me died.
Absolutely. It is just
I
saddening.
It is. And look, they were dealt a bad hand. It's understandable. They were. It's a tough position that they were in. But again, 2-0, 5-3 losses, 6-3 losses. They're coming just close enough. Oh well. Well, woe to the Rumblebees, and hope that they can at least pick up another win. Although, a part of me, a small part of me, as an Eastern Division broadcaster, hopes that their one win this year comes against Elmira. You know?
Of course.
That one win, if it stays that way where their only win of the season came against the Elmira Enforcers.
On guaranteed win.
It's just the perfect storm of ridiculousness that I kind of hope it stays that way. I want chaos.
You hope for more victories, obviously,
Look,
but
in
if
the
you're
interest
going
of
to
parity, sure.
if you're going to win 2 games, just hold on to the one. They rattle off a 5-game win streak at the end of the season. We'll be happy with that too.
Of course. They have no sense of comedy. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, a 4-2 score is here at Danbury Arena. The Hat Tricks lead the Columbus River Dragons. How we got here, Shane Morrissey and Anton Lenartson traded goals in the first period, and then it was a second period explosion for the top line of the Danbury Hat Tricks. Johnny Ruiz, Phil Bronner, and Nicola Levesque all tallied and found the back of the net, which was answered in the waning seconds of the period on the power play by Igor Kostik, who buried his first goal of the season and first as a member of the River Dragons as CJ Hayes enters back in. So with that late momentum boost, Columbus goes back to work as they chase 2. They were able to come back from down 3-2 last night in the third period. Do they have a 2-goal comeback in them as this is touched up offsides? Hat Trick skating from left to right on your YouTube screens. And Jack, I'm sure that Billy McCreary, they do have an extra goal of a lead to work with, but I'm sure that they will want to tighten things up. But they will have to do it against Cody Karpinski, who is in goal for the Columbus River Dragons to start the third period.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move to bring Karpinski in, maybe just shake things up a little bit. He was so strong in the third, particularly last night, so you're going to try to ride his coattails and not let anything past the goal line in this third period. That's what they did last night. They shut Danbury's offense down in the third, and that's how they were able to come back. But it took them a while to get that tying goal all the way down to just under 3 minutes left. They need to score their third in this one much, much quicker if they want to come back.
Here's Bronner entering in, drops it back intended for Levesque. It's broken up. This is the second time in his last 8 appearances that Jared Rutledge has been pulled from a game. That one time that he was pulled 9 minutes into a 3-0 game against the Elmira Enforcers, which eventually finished 6-5. That shot attempt is stone cold by Karpinski as he dives on the loose puck. But Jared Rutledge, that's the one blemish on his record the last couple of months, and there's Cody Karpinski entering in. Cold he is not as he makes a point-blank stop on Phil Bronner.
Well, there you go, that Bronner-Levesque line, again, forcing the issue. Ruiz up there at the top with them, just all crashing down right into between the circles, making Karpinski's job hard, and looked like he's been playing the first 2 periods in this one.
Karpinski has been stellar since joining the River Dragons. Gavrik with a shot attempt that's blocked. Behind the net it goes. Bunnell with Anderson planting himself in front. Now Gavrik holds the blue line once more as Anderson in front of him flips it ahead. Here's Bunnell behind the end line. Bunnell in the corner. Has some space. Gets it to Gavrik. Gavrik with a shot through traffic wide. Freeman now at the point. His long shot redirected. They score! Gordy Bunnell, 5-2 hat tricks!
This all starts on the behind the net. It's Gordy Bunnell who wins a nice little puck battle as the puck's rattling around. Gets it up to the top. Gavrik's shot goes wide, but Bunnell, he sees a little crease there. There's not a lot of pressure in front. We've seen a lot of things on social media with tip drills as of late. Gordy Bunnell, excellent with the redirection there, and that's a great way to get yourself reaccustomed in the lineup, scoring in your second game back from injury. Really, really nice play there, and that's the way to take care of business. Get yourself back out to the 3-goal lead, and do not take your foot off the gas. That's the most important thing for the hat-tricks over the next 18 minutes, too, is to hang on to this lead by pressing the issue. That's a great way to open up the third period. For
Gordy Bunnell, it is his 12th goal of the season, his first point since rejoining the hat-tricks roster. And that's, I'm sure, a weight off of his shoulders. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he's sort of waiting to get back into a usual routine for the Danbury hat-tricks and trying to find usual line mates. And good to see Gordy right place, right time. And that's how you beat Cody Karpinski, is you get traffic in front. That's something they weren't able to do very much yesterday.
And it was a smart play on the opposite side. I believe it was Freeman who had that puck at the point there, and he just throws it low on the ice. He doesn't have to do too much with the puck. He just gets it towards the front of the net. Bunnell comes across unmarked and just gets the nice little redirection in between Karpinski, and that's exactly it. The goaltender's expecting one thing. Halfway there, it becomes something else, and he's not able to stop it.
It's Bunnell's first goal since January 10th, January 10th against the Delaware Thunder. So a long time coming for Mr. Bunnell. Assisted by Thomas Freeman, who is getting his first point since rejoining the action. And Vlad Gavrik had a good keep in at the blue line as well. So it's the butterfly effect. Set up in front, between the legs, shot by Lirakos goes just wide. Lirakos getting a little fancy.
Well, that's impressive, and honestly, that's the only thing he could have done to get the puck on net there because it was kind of in between his legs. He was caught in between. Ooh, nice save by McGuckin, too, on an off-speed pitch.
For Thomas Freeman, his first point since coming back, his 8th of the season, his 10th point. Face-off will be to the right of Tom McGuckin, and hat-tricks now have a 3-goal lead once again. Anderson against Fallis. Face-off won cleanly by Anderson. Now Tuma has it on his backhand, shouldering off Fallis. Kasich is able to get it out of the neutral zone, but not very far. Here's Gerson dumping it in. Lirakos the first to receive. Lirakos set up in front. Fallis has it go off his skates. Bouncing puck. Tuma swipes it out towards the blue line. Kept in by Ozelinch. Kasich, puck pops out. Gerson swinging at it, missing. Anderson picks it up. Anderson hits it off the wall and kept in by Fallis now. Fallis with Gerson and Lirakos. They will deem him offside on a very late whistle.
Yeah, I think the referee couldn't get the whistle up to his mouth in time. But you see Fallis just trying to carry that puck over the line. He whiffed on the initial puck carry, and that's why it took him a second to get the puck across the blue line. He beats it, and that's why they call the offsides. He was an important player in those last couple of minutes last night. I think he's going to have to, put the team on his shoulders again. Very, very impressive wraparound goal that we saw from him yesterday, and that ended up springing the comeback.
Now entering in Bondarenko. He's got Freeman in front of him. Bondarenko, a shot goes off of Freeman's leg. Takes a little bit of a hop step as that one went off his knee, but he shakes it off and continues play. He joins the rush now with Shinkarik and Morrissey. Shinkarik looks to the net, shoots it just high and wide. Had just a little bit of space to work with above Karpinski's blocker.
Yeah, he was looking for that top corner, just missed it. Good attempt, good speed through the zone, and That's the right decision by Freeman there to join the rush because he knows he can have a forward rotate back and help out in case things turn bad. And that shot goes wide. Danbury had the numbers back, so there's no odd man rushes.
Freeman chops it towards the hash marks, kept in by Krupp, though. Krupp fanned on a shot attempt. Gavrik was down on one knee to break up the play. Bondarenko out with Graham and Krupp. Bondarenko's shot stuffed by Shinkarik. Shinkarik will pick that right back up, and he's up with Mealy and Morrissey. Mealy enters in. He hits it off his skate. That's an offside. 5 minutes, 16 seconds into the third period, and the Hat-Tricks have provided themselves a bit of a cushion.
I think that line led by Bondarenko needs to get going. We haven't seen too much from MJ Graham this entire series, Casey. He's the second highest point getter on this team, and obviously when you have Parker Moscow out of the game, you look to kind of your second guy up to provide some offensive surge, but I think Graham's had a quiet weekend. Bondarenko had a solid game yesterday, but he's been quiet in this second game.
Bondarenko has himself a 6-game point streak at stake. MJ Graham has himself a 9-game point streak, so they're just waiting for that line that has been so red hot and has been such a key part of their winning ways lately, just waiting for that beast to awaken once more. And they will need it, as time is the enemy of the Columbus River Dragons. They will have to average a goal every 5 minutes in order to get back into the game and force overtime perhaps once more. Bolin Porter up with Levesque. Levesque on the left side. Levesque with a wrist shot, gloved out by Karpinski. Bouncing puck, Levesque gets to it, is shoved off by Santapalo. Now carrying ahead is Dimmitt. Dimmitt up the right wing. Hayes circles around. Hayes with a long pass, finds Lirakos, who was waiting at the blue line, has Fallis in the slot. Fallis gets a shot off, that's blocked by the stick of Kasich. Both he and Tuma were in the shooting lane. Another try from the point goes wide. Ozelinch keeps it in. Lirakos behind the net. Gets it out in front, but it's taken away by Bunnell. Bunnell with Kasich, 2-on-2. Bunnell trying to drag the toe. Ozelinch with a good stick play. Down to the ice goes Lirakos, though, and the Hat-Tricks are able to keep it in just for a moment. Bunnell turns around and chips it in deep. Kostyukov has it go over his glove. Now Kostyukov from behind his own net. Shinkarik ambles towards him. Goes off the skates of Fallis. Hard check against the boards. Gerson was driven into the Danbury bench by Cruz Listmayer.
And you see how quickly that Columbus is losing puck possession. Once they're trying to enter the Danbury zone, they're not spending much time on the puck. Danbury doing such a good job at collapsing down, especially around the boards, and forcing turnovers.
And the thing is that they've been so opportunistic, Columbus, is that even though they haven't had much puck possession in the early goings of the third, that can change on a dime. We've seen that all weekend.
Absolutely. You have to keep this going if you're Danbury because you know the threat. Again, if you take that foot off the gas, Columbus can jump at any time. You see them turn on the Jets.
Freeman with a shot that's kicked out by Karpinski. Now Morrissey holds. Morrissey dances around a defender. Is brought down by Shapitsin. Gavrik holds at the blue line, has Freeman to his left. Shot attempt blocked by Shapitsin. Morrissey again sets it up for Shinkarik. Looking for Mealy across the way. Mealy can't get a stick on it. Awkward pass was kind of in his heels. Bondarenko drops it back. Shapitsin with a one-timer. Deflected by Gavrik up into the netting, and we get a stoppage of play just about 8 minutes into the third.
Well, there you go. There's the quick play through the neutral zone back the other way, but Vlad Gavrik takes a piece of that one off the stick out of play. That's what you need to do. Get in the shooting lanes for Danbury. And if you're Columbus, find a way to take Danbury out of their offensive flow of the game. They've been in a long flow now. They carried it through the second period here into the third. It's helped them. You have to establish a good forecheck. I think that's the reason why Danbury was struggling getting out of their own zone last night. That's how Columbus started to get back into things, by forechecking hard, aggressive, and making Danbury make mistakes with the puck.
Holding on to it is Lenartson, gets it up, intended for Hayes, taken away by Ruiz. Ruiz with time and space, fakes a slap shot, has Bronner in the slot. Out to the high slot, Bolin Porter, a shot, rings it off the post. I believe Karpinski might have got a piece of it with his mask. And Bronner goes tumbling down with Lenartson behind the play.
Yeah, some oohs and ahs there. Phil Bronner laying the heat tonight.
Bronner with a stick check, knocking it off the stick of Dimmitt. Dimmitt up to Hayes. Speeding around Bolin Porter. Hayes with a bad angle try, goes wide. Liriakos with a turnaround shot. That one's redirected into the corner, and it will go up out of play by the paddle of the stick of McGuckin.
We see a lot of those lower shots on McGuckin, maybe trying to produce a little bit of rebound, but there hasn't been a whole lot of traffic around him. You usually see maybe one player kind of hanging around, but Danbury's done a good job at kind of keeping that area clear. Guys staying with their mans. There's really not a lot of defensive breakdowns. They've been very solid over the last couple of minutes.
Liriakos sets up a one-time shot that's seen and held by McGuckin. You are right. They're shooting low on him, and that was the book on him earlier in the year.
Yeah.
You know, in his first couple of starts, you knew that if you shot it low, you could get a save because that was McGuckin just starting his pro career. He looked a bit shaky in his first few, but I tell you what, he has grown into such a steady goaltender. He's 2-0 since returning from the SPHL. Oh boy, redirected in front, they score. It went off of the body of Cruz Listmayer. And the River Dragons, a fortuitous bounce gets them on the board.
Well, that's exactly what you need. Traffic in front of the net. Just throw it there, make good things happen. And Listmayer was tangled up on the play. Doesn't have a good opportunity to kind of turn and block it away from the goaltender. Instead, it banks off of him, banks off the post and in. And McGuckin, there's nothing you can do there because you're expecting the puck to go all the way out to your right. The next thing you know, it's behind you. And you're not expecting the player to block it into your own net.
And, of course, it comes just as we were talking about the praise that McGuckin deserves for his play since returning from the SPHL. As I was going to say is that he has a 2.50 goals against average in his pair of games since returning and a .917 save percentage since returning from Fayetteville. So McGuckin has been steady, and that's no fault of his that the puck finds its way to the back of the net. He sort of gets burned just by the hockey gods, really. A let's go hat-tricks chant up from the crowd as Liriakos enters back in. Sets up Fallis. Fallis looking for the backdoor shot. Oh, what a stop by McGuckin! Sticks out the left leg.
Well, there you go. There's the defensive breakdown. Great little pass. Fallis with the shot. The initial stop is blocked.
A rebound try by Morrissey gets sent wide. Helter-skelter action back the other way.
That game's going to open up a little bit. Now Columbus has a little bit of wind in their sails with that third goal.
And it's great to see McGuckin rebound after a soft goal like that, making a miraculous stop. I'm amazed Fallis did not take a shot on that. He looked for the backdoor pass, perhaps just one too many.
I understand why he's making that pass, try to create that separation, but I think you're right, Casey. He's got to just fire that at the net. You have so many bodies in front, too.
Yeah, you're trailing, too. You got to get shots off. You can't wait for the perfect play to come around when you're less than halfway to go in regulation. Here's Freeman entering in. Wrist shot, that's blocked. And do we have entering in a shot that's gloved out of the air by Karpinski and Jackie Remotion. I believe they might have gotten away with a sloppy change there.
Danbury did last night. Columbus gets away with one here. We'll call it even for the weekend. How's that sound?
Fair enough. Well, we have a moment to breathe as we've reached the media timeout. We want to remind you to follow the Danbury Hat Tricks on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Be sure to follow at Danbury Hat Tricks, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube feed, as on March 6th we'll be back in action right here on the YouTube channel as the Hat Tricks host the Danville Dashers. Big weekend coming up. Friday night will be Police Appreciation Night here at Danbury Arena, and Saturday night, that's the big one, Danbury Hockey Alumni Night. We will be honoring number 15, a founding Danbury Whaler, Corey Fulton, who was a enforcer to a T for the Danbury Whalers. We'll be honoring him. The 2013 Commissioners Cup champion, Danbury Whalers, the 2016 Eastern Conference champion, Danbury Titans, and the UHL's 2006 Eastern Conference champion, Danbury Trashers.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of hockey history in this city. It started with the Trashers and their success in the couple seasons that they were in the UHL, and that really set the tone for minor professional hockey here in Danbury. Of course, we had the Mad Hatters as well. But the Whalers stuck around the longest. They had the longest tenure of any minor professional team. And, of course, they're the city's only hockey champion.
Bolin Porter. Puck flips up over the cage.
Oh.
Over to the right side by Phil Bonner. Took an awkward bounce there. Bolin Porter once more will give chase. Bolin Porter is playing right now on the blue line. He has been the last couple of shifts. And we've seen Bolin Porter at center this night. We've seen him at wing, and Now they're going to try to play him on the blue line, and as if it wasn't already crowded enough back on the blue line. We haven't seen a whole lot of Kenny Garrett, and Bolin Porter seems to be finding his place in his spot. Kugler forced out by the stick of Levesque. Over towards Karpinski. Karpinski is directing traffic. That's the thing about Karpinski. He's a very vocal goaltender, and he's very animated. We see him in between periods. The camera doesn't always pick it up, but Karpinski, he likes to do a little jig if he's feeling the playlist in the arena.
Absolutely. That's when, you know, guys are having fun with their game of hockey. Some guys just like to lock in and go all serious mode. Karpinski, he's loose. He's having fun out there. You can just tell by the way he plays the game. He's a fun goaltender to watch.
Well, you have the luxury of dancing when in the crease and when you're feeling yourself, and, well, he's been feeling himself lately ever since he got to Columbus.
Yeah.
An FHL vet who has experience with Watertown, has experience with Delaware Thunder. And he's a well-traveled goaltender and a very successful one at that. Dimmitt cycling with Lennartson. Behind the end line it goes, C.J. Hayes. Motioning it towards the blue line, but it'll be taken by Mealy and carried ahead by Shinkarik. Shinkarik keeping the feet moving, squares a wrist shot that's snatched by Karpinski, and he holds with 7:39 to go in regulation time, and the River Dragons chasing 2.
Yeah, you start to look at the clock if you're Columbus. You're just keep peeking your head up there. Okay, how much time left? How much time left? Danbury's done a better job at not necessarily allowing Columbus to jump in on the rushes. We saw right after their goal, their deflected goal, they had that great chance in front. McGuckin made that save. Since then, over the last couple of minutes, that has slowed down now. Danbury doing a much better job taking care of the puck, clogging the neutral zone.
Kostukov will glide back towards his bench and be replaced by Preston Kugler. Shinkarik will be out with Morrissey and Mealy. Morrissey is setting up at the high slot and right in front of Vlad Gavrik at the blue line. I'm sure he'll be waiting for a one-timer if they can win it back to him, and Shinkarik gives a knowing nod back to him. Shinkarik wins it back, but more towards Freeman. Freeman looks towards Morrissey, but sends it behind him, and the Hat-Tricks will be forced to retreat. Here's Gavrik with Fallis bearing down on him, taking away Lirakos. His shot gets sent wide. Gavrik was down on both knees trying to take away the shooting lane. Mealy races after the puck. Santo Paolo. Morrissey leaves it for Shinkarik as time ticks away. 7:10 to go. Here's Morrissey in front of Kugler. Back pass taken away. It's Kugler setting up shop. River Dragons need to start advancing the puck ahead. Lirakos forced to retreat. Conservative play in the neutral zone. Now Kugler will enter in. Thinks about a shot. Hesitates. Sends it towards the slot. No one home. Bronner the first to retrieve. Bronner has Ruiz with him to his left. Bronner will dump it in and let Ruiz give chase. Ruiz is the first to get there. Has Bronner in front. Bronner's stick was tied up. Levesque with a backhander, and he gets a lot of that one. Goes up into the netting. I believe that was clean. Oh, no, they'll say it was redirected, and it'll stay in the zone.
Oh, no, I think they're bringing it out.
They
they are. Oh,
they pointed towards the circle.
looking at the official going to get the puck. That's what it was.
Well, Levesque did get a lot of that backhander. He sent it up. You don't see a backhander usually with that much velocity and height on that.
The puck's
From
on
that
edge a
distance,
little
anyway.
bit. Yeah, the puck is on edge a little bit and just rides up on Levesque there. And
Rolling puck goes towards Bronner, who tries to stuff it in. Karpinski covers.
you look at the last shift, Casey, in the Danbury zone. It's the right idea for Kugler. He throws it to the front of the net, but once again, there's no presence there for the River Dragons. There's nobody there on the doorstep creating traffic, and it's easy. Vlad Gavrik just lets it go through his legs because he doesn't have to worry about anything. Get it out to the outside, and then Danbury's easily able to clear.
And we saw in the early goings yesterday, Columbus struggled with the tape-to-tape passing and found it as the game went on. Now it seems the opposite. They had it in the early goings of the game, and it's sort of deteriorated as the game has progressed.
Yeah, the way they started, it looked like they were going to take control of at least the first part of the game, and then that kind of stifled away. We saw the 1-1 back and forth first period.
Here's Ruiz with a shot. He scores! What a shot by Ruiz. Beats Karpinski. Blocker side. 6-3.
Oh, please, Johnny Ruiz. Back and forth. He skates through across the blue line, and you think you have him marked. You think you're doing so well. You're doing such a nice job just defending him, and he just delivers such a quick wrist shot. It's impossible to stop because the goaltender, he starts to set himself. Next thing you know, the puck's already off of his stick. It's so difficult to catch up with his quick wrister. And there you go, another insurance goal. Columbus continues to find a way to get, hey, we're back to the 2-goal disadvantage. We're back to the 2-goal disadvantage. Danbury answers again and says, try to chase 3 again. And now with just under 6 minutes to go, that's a lot more work that they have to do. They just haven't had the offensive intensity that they need.
And I tell you what, that was Johnny Ruiz creating something out of nothing because he was in one-on-one with Shapitsin, and Shapitsin cut him off. And Karpinski will go to the bench as there's a delayed penalty coming up. Anderson knocked a man down. A trip will be assessed.
Yeah, it's going to be Kasich.
It will be Kasich, excuse me. But I tell you what, Shapitsin did the right thing. He forced him to the outside, and Karpinski left his blocker side a bit open, that far side. You don't see that too often with a goalie of Karpinski's caliber.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have your angles all covered, and I don't think Shapitsin could have played a better defensive shift there. Billy McCreary is going to, or no, Columbus is going to take a timeout here. Smart decision, obviously the power play, 5:25 to go, you're chasing 3, but.
Well, if you are Columbus, this is the right time to take that timeout. And Section 102 giving the business to the Columbus bench. Well, I tell you what, Jack, is that now if you're Columbus, Cody Karpinski is taking a seat on the bench. It's looking like Karpinski's going to be off, and it's going to be a 6-on-4 for 2 minutes. Do you like that move from Columbus?
I do. You don't have anything to lose here. You're on a 6-game winning streak. Your back's against the wall in this game. If you drop, if Danbury puts one more goal in, it's a 7-3 game. You know this thing is over as soon as that happens. Why not try your hand at this? I like the aggressive move. You get a quick goal here on the power play, that changes the entire face of this game again. If you could do this right around the 1-minute mark in the power play, guess what? You have over 4 minutes to collect 2 goals. I think you have to go all out here and get those 6 skaters on. I like the move.
It is a very Patrick Wayan move to pull a netminder with over 5 minutes remaining in a game, but nevertheless, Columbus needs it. They're chasing 3. It is home run time, and there's a Hail Mary shot just wide.
And no icing, too, because of the power play.
That's true. So that is a major boon for the Danbury hat-tricks as there's Lenartson out with Dimmitt. Dimmitt has Lirakos, Krupp, Kostyukov, and Hayes with him. Kostyukov to Lenartson, down low to Lirakos. Out to Lenartson in the high slot. Lirakos at the circle, has Gavrik diving in front of him. Gavrik forces him wide. Dimmitt back out to Lirakos. Lirakos looking to cross the way. Broken up Shinkarik. Kept in at the blue line by Kostyukov. Here's Hayes, forced back by Bronner, gets around him. Taking a step in, Hayes to the net, blocked in front by the body of Steve Brown. Shinkarik off the legs of Krupp. Now racing ahead, Gavrik has an empty net in front of him. Gavrik takes a step in, shoots it high and wide. Oof. Looking top shelf on an empty net.
I know he had to shoot around the defender there, but he had his legs too. It's not a goalie. He could just shoot right at the net.
Halfway through the power play, out to Lenartson. Lenartson's shot is blocked. That shot saved by McGuckin. Rebound steered out by Gavrik. 45 seconds to go on the power play. Here's Lenartson settling it down. Teeing up a one-time shot to Shapitsin. Shot saved, McGuckin. Lirakos looking across the way to Hayes. Hayes has Shinkarik in front of him. Long shift here for this penalty kill unit. Down low, Hayes. Backhander off the body of Gavrik. Swinging and missing Shinkarik. It goes out to the far side circle. 25 seconds to go in the power play. Knocking a man down is Steve Brown. Here's Hayes, far side circle. Hayes has Brown in front of him. Lirakos setting a screen in front of McGuckin. Krupp back door. Out to the point. Shapitsin to Lenartson. Lenartson down low, Krupp. Krupp tries to pick a corner. Shoulder save, McGuckin. 10 seconds to go in the power play. Here's Hayes. Out to Lenartson. Has Bunnell in front of him. Lenartson evades him. Gets it over to Shapitsin. Calling for it once more, Lenartson. That'll do it for the power play. Toe save, McGuckin. Goes off the side of the net now. Bunnell pitchforks it towards the blue line. Kept in Lennartson. 3:10 to go in regulation time. Columbus net still vacant. Here's Lennartson. Set up in front, goes off the skates of Brown, and mercifully this unit is able to get a change after a long 2-minute extended shift, and an ovation from the Hat-Tricks faithful as that tired unit comes back to the bench.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't change when Vlad Gavrik came in to take that shot down at the other end. The guys stayed out there on the ice, but this is such a smart idea for Danbury. They're clogging the lane. The six-man attack for Columbus and allowed more traffic in front, so they saw more shots get through to McGuckin. He was smart with the way he handled his rebounds, but I almost felt like Columbus, they took too much time with the puck.
Here's Mealy now with an empty net in front of him. Mealy looking to pass to Bolin Porter, now over to Morrissey. It's out of his reach. Well, I know you're protecting a 3-goal lead, but somebody's got to take a shot.
Much like Columbus should have shot a lot more in that power play. What are the Hat-Tricks doing? Shoot at the net.
Here's Bondarenko, gets around Tuman with a nifty move. Bondarenko fanning on the pass, and Graham now with a shot attempt that goes off the leg pad of McGuckin. Terrific play by Bondarenko. He gets around Tuma. Tuma throws a check and brings him down, and that'll be a penalty going against the Hat-Tricks. Set up in front, broken up by Mealy, touches up, and Tuma will go to the penalty box. It'll be a trip against number 2.
It's an obvious call for the official to make, and if you're Marty Tuma, you just have to shake your head because you're going at the puck. Next thing you know, skater trips right over your stick, and there's nothing you could do in that situation. You're trying to make a play on the puck. He falls down, and the heavy skaters of Gavrik and Brown, who just killed off those full 2 minutes, are back out there after a short shift.
No rest for the wicked as Shinkarik, Brown, Gavrik, and Bronner. That unit comes back out. Dimmitt, Lirakos, and Krupp the forwards with Hayes, Shipitson, and Lennartson. So the same power play unit that was out there for a long time goes back out there. It's hero ball time, and Lirakos looks to the net, blocked by Gavrik. 2:15 to go in regulation time. The power play will take us to the waning seconds of regulation time if there is no scoring on the part of the River Dragons. Here's Lennartson to Krupp on the doorstep. Back out to Lennartson. Has a man across the way. One-timer blocked by Bronner up into the netting. And teeing up a big shot was Yanni Lirakos.
Well, that's what you want is those one-timers, but Columbus, again, just taking way too long to look for that perfect shot attempt. At this point in the game, you're down by 3, you have that extra skater, get the puck to the front of the net. You've seen what happens on the third goal. It was a deflected goal in. Much like how you beat Karpinski, the way to beat McGuckin is to get traffic in front of him.
Bunnell will flip it down towards the empty net, but this one will sail wide, and this one, again on the penalty kill, no icing. 1:45 in regulation time. Here's a long pass for Lirakos. Drops it back Dimmitt. Dimmitt to the net. Blocker save. And another second try goes wide. Excuse me, the first shot went off of the legs of Gavrik. Here's Shipitson. Switches with Lennartson. Slides it to Lirakos. Back to Lennartson with a one-time shot. That one's held between the legs of McGuckin.
Now that's great, too, because it allows Danbury to make that full change. They're just able to change the forwards, and now Brown and Gavrik can go to the bench. But there you go. Great save by McGuckin. Good rebound control, but nobody there to deflect it in. Again, I like the idea. Shoot from the blue line. That's perfect. That's what you want to do if you're Columbus, but that's just half the battle. You have to have somebody in front there.
Tied up in the dot. Anderson sends it towards the blue line. Kept in Lennartson. Long shot off the chest of McGuckin. Rebound. McGuckin's down. Set up in front. Can't connect with Dimmitt. McGuckin back to his crease. Lennartson for a one-time shot to Shipitson. That one's blocked. 45 seconds to go in the man advantage. Lennartson looking for now a setup in front. Krupp shanks it wide. Krupp at a yawning net mouth. Now back out once more to Krupp. Sprawling stop McGuckin. Hayes in the final minute of regulation. 30 seconds to go. Here's Lennartson. Looking now for the backdoor pass. A shot save. A second attempt is swallowed up by McGuckin. One last flurry of saves as number 30 standing on his head.
Wow, and some extra stuff going on. Lirakos and, of course, Cruz Listmayer. But Tom McGuckin, oh, my goodness, he's going to be exhausted after the last couple of minutes. Sprawling out one way. Goes way out of his crease, has to come all the way back down, and A couple times Columbus could have found the back of the net. They just couldn't get that shot away. You look at that shot by Krupp. I mean, that is right in the wheelhouse, and he just forces it wide. Such a tough shot. But they're doing the right things and getting everything set up. They just haven't been able to find a way to push it past McGuckin here, and Danbury doing just enough on the defense to hang on to this one.
With 15 seconds to go in the power play and 35 seconds to go in regulation, Danbury will improve to 27, 9, 2, and 3, increasing their stranglehold on first place in the Eastern Division. Columbus, meanwhile, will fall to 16, 18, 5, and 1 as Kostyukov's shot gets sent wide. Columbus still chasing the Danville Dashers to try to move up the playoff rankings, but a hard-fought weekend for them as we're back to even strength. One last chance here for Graham. Saws off his stick. Excuse me, that was Ruiz who sawed off his stick. 2 seconds and 1. It goes up into the netting with .6 to go, and Johnny Ruiz seconds away from ending his weekend. Instead, has to foot however many dollars that stick cost him. He was 2 seconds away from not having to pay $200 for another stick.
Yeah, and he scored a couple goals with that stick too. He might have felt really good with that one. And
that's true. I didn't think of that.
Now he's got to find a new one. Maybe he's just getting hot with that.
That's true. Well,
particular piece of lumber.
He's got a connection at Westco, the local hockey supply shop where Tim Hanlon and Nick Nieder work. And buzzer sounds, and that will do it. The Danbury Hat-Tricks take a 6-3 victory from the Columbus River Dragons. They finally snap the River Dragons' long winning streak. Tom McGuckin makes 38 saves in the victory. And what a flurry it was. Even though they had that 3-goal lead, you felt the desperation from Columbus in those final few minutes, Jack. What a performance for Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. He was fighting his way, even with the rebounds, just fighting everything off. He had to make saves low, up high, hung in there, and Tom McGuckin continues to be a guy where you expect greatness from him, just the way that he dictates his play, and 38 saves, and look at that.
Tom Freeman gets to hoist the barrel with Litchfield Distillery. His first game back from injury, a long battle it's been for number 18, and gets a primary assist in his first game back. What a moment for number 18.
Yeah, he had a very, very strong return tonight. We saw a couple of guys, Gordy Bonnell, I think, played a much better game tonight than he did last night. That's a very, very good performance, strong performance for McGuckin. And I think the most important thing about this game for the Hat-Tricks, Casey, is that they played a full 60-minute game. Yesterday, they took that last period and they struggled a little bit with it, and they just didn't finish. And they finished tonight. They finished all the way through, and they bent, they never broke, and you just saw how much Columbus just poured it on at the end. 6 skaters on the ice compared to 5 or 4 at some times, and Danbury doing the best they can. They held off the River Dragons, an impressive effort.
Well, the Danbury Hat-Tricks come away with a 6-3 win, and that's a big momentum boost for them. And this series is not over, because now we head down to Georgia for a 3-game set with this same team. And, you know, you might be seeing a different look from the Columbus River Dragons, as they might have Will Laporte back in their lineup. They might have Parker Moskal back in their lineup, and that would be a huge addition for them on both sides. Parker Moskal is the leading scorer for the team, has 63 points, 43 assists. He was a big subtraction from the lineup this weekend. You can't take anything for granted with this River Dragons team, but a lot of encouraging signs here tonight for Billy McCreary and company.
Absolutely. You look at this weekend as a whole. Obviously, last night was disappointing. You still picked up the point. You walk away with 4 out of 6 points this weekend. It's just a sign that, yeah, once again, even with streaky teams, even with teams who are red hot at the moment, you're still able to grind it out. And however physical and draining this game and this series might have been, you hit the reset button. You're happy with the way you finished tonight. Johnny Ruiz gets the top star. I thought he was incredible. He made some very, very smart decisions. That second goal for Johnny Ruiz.
I'm seeing some delayed hats being thrown out onto the ice as there was a scoring correction. Initially, they had deemed it Nicola Levesque's goal, Johnny Ruiz's second, but now I believe they will say that they will correct it, and Ruiz has himself a hat trick.
Yeah, why not? He played his rear end off tonight. He was incredible, and You look at this entire just completion of this game, full 60 minutes for the Hat-Tricks, positive signs in all directions. You get a strong player in Tommy Freeman back. That's great, and a good showing on hand tonight, too, for the Hat-Tricks. They continue to roll. Now you feel good. They're in the playoffs, and they come away with a win to end the weekend.
That'll do it here for Danbury Arena, as 6-3 is your final score. And we'll be back on March 6th for the broadcast of the Hat-Tricks against the Danville Dashers. We want to sincerely thank everyone for tuning in this weekend, be you from Columbus, Georgia, or Danbury, Connecticut. And we want to thank everyone at Danbury Arena who makes a Hat-Tricks game possible. For all of us here at Danbury Arena, and for my broadcast partner, Jack O'Mara, I'm Casey Bryant. Have a good night.